What up, everybody? What up? What up? What up? What up? How we doing? How we doing? Slept in today. Slept in today. Just been going hard. I'm going hard on the streams. I just did so much stream yesterday. I did like 15 hours of stream. Probably got to stop doing that. But when my mind's racing, I just can't think of anything else to do. How we doing, everybody? Check in. Check in. Day 2, October 2nd, but also day 2 of the U.S. government shutdown. Going through all the latest news around it. Nothing's changed. Government's still shut down. Republicans are still lying. Donald Trump's still our president. Things haven't changed. Hello, we got you got a med kit and a Leatherman style too for you. Hell yeah. I'll have the PO box fixed by tomorrow. I'm gonna go over there tomorrow and get that thing all remedied because I got myself a bunch of stuff, and also GG's to everybody, and I gotta end the buy me a coffee thing because it's all done now. In terms of people that helped get the helmet and the gas mask and the plates, all ordered. Already ordered yesterday. So ordered the helmet. I'm supposed to get it by October 7th. So it's going to still be a few days before I get it for the helmet. Ordered the gas mask. You guys can see this shit's not cheap. I mean, there's still even more expensive items, but I don't want to break my bank or your bank. So there's the good gas mask, and then I got the plates, which are actually on sale too. So we didn't reach the full amount for them, but it doesn't matter because it was $346 instead of 500 and whatever it was. So I ended up only paying $346 for a 2-pack. Yeah, you get 2 of them. Yeah, I thought it was added up weird to where it was like 2 2-packs, but you only pay for 1 and you get 2 plates. So that's all I need, a front plate and a back plate. Ended up being only $346, so that works out. But yeah, this is a NATO standard gas mask. All right, so that's a good one. Really top. Like, this is probably the best gas mask I'm ever gonna have, and it does, like, this works. I showed you guys this gas mask did well for me, and it still is a good backup, but it's nothing in comparison to this one. This is an actual NATO issued gas mask, and what's being given out now. And then this fast helmet will allow me to wear that, and then also have a GoPro. My helmet I currently have, I could get a Rhino mount attachment, but they suck. And this has a Rhino mount on it already, and it will be great. And I'll be able to easily put that on over the mask and be able to be good to go. All right. So thank you to everybody across the board, whether you donated to the Buy Me a Coffee link, to the PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, your super chats, all of it taken care of, all good to go. And honestly, good thing we did, because if I would have went to Portland without any of this after what we've seen, with at least in the ice in Illinois and how they're just deploying tear gas and just firing away. I'm glad that I have this now. Okay, I do have stuff that would have been fine. Like, if I would have went to Portland now or I'll just, like, if I don't get any of this stuff before we have to go somewhere, I'll just wear what I have. But I'd rather have this stuff, which is coming now, so that's good. I also had good recommendation for my old gear that I have, which not a whole lot, but I have like old vest now, and at least one of the plates I can give up, but I do want to keep one of them for collector, for keepsake, because I wore them. I'm just weird. I keep things that I have experiences with. I don't really keep like big items or whatever. I'm not a hoarder, but whenever I have something that I have experiences with, I don't want to get rid of it. And maybe that's just how I am. But some of the gear I do have, I just want to keep. But I do have stuff I can give up. I have a whole box full. I still have a whole box full of gear that I can give to the armed forces of Ukraine. Good idea. Other protesters that that need gear that don't have shit. Because I'm telling you, you go out there without anything, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. That's just at the ones that the police are militarized. If you're going to like the No Kings protests, you're fine. You don't need any of this. Right? At least, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're in a little different environment than prior to Charlie Kirk's assassination. But the No Kings protest is coming up here in 16 days, and I mean, I don't. There will be people there that have protection on, but those protests are overwhelmingly peaceful. There's no militarized police at them. There's no risk of flashbangs or tear gas being deployed. Like it's just a different vibe. Okay, people go out there in mass, they protest, they're speakers, and then everybody goes home. And that's just how they've gone all year. I don't foresee that. I don't see that changing. I don't see the environment changing. I don't see the situation changing. So if you're going to like the big ones, you're fine. You don't need any of this stuff. But I mean, with the caveat that I mean, just bring with what you're comfortable with, okay? Because or put in a backpack. Bring a backpack with a gas mask or something, and just put it in your backpack because that's what I'm gonna do. My backpack will have my plates in it and my mask in it, and then I don't need to wear it or like because I don't want to scare people. You don't want people to be scared. So it's just right place, right time, right uniform. That's what I was taught in the military. Right place, right time, right uniform. And some places I'm not going to have all this on. Most of the time I won't. I'm hoping. But times are crazy right now. So again, most of the time, no Kings stuff. Other 50501 protests, I'll just be in like street clothes mostly. Might have my vest though. Might have my vest because while I do journalism stuff, I'm also a content creator and somewhat of an influencer. Not, I guess, maybe I have followers on social media. So dangerous times for influencers of anybody, of anything political. So I'll probably just wear the flak protection. And like I said, I'll have the plates in my backpack and then do a Call of Duty Warzone move where you put the plates in when it's time, when you need them. So that's probably what I'm going to do personally. But you protect yourself how you want. But just to reiterate, the 50501 protests and the peaceful, massive ones, yeah, haven't required any of this stuff, at least right now. Okay, but with the crazies out there, just make sure you have at least some protection or wear layers, just in case something. It's hot though. It's hot as hell. It's still 90 degrees outside. Still like full on summertime. It's October 2nd and it is hot outside. So wearing multiple layers right now might not be the best idea. But if you're going into a spicy situation or if you're like going to an ICE protest, especially if you're going to an ICE protest that people are protesting ICE, they're probably going to deploy tear gas and flashbangs. So or start pepperballing people. So you should probably have more protection at those ones. If you're going to go to those ones, it just is what it is. Other things I got too, that I didn't need to fundraise for. I just with my money and my all my members, the people that are members of the channel, and help me pay for stuff. This just came in. That's why I was 10 minutes late. 10 minutes late because I had to go down and get this stuff. It just came in the mail. But I got myself a new outer jacket. Just a shit's just black. Nothing fancy. I'm not gonna wear anything other than black and the word press on myself. That's all I'm wearing. I ain't wearing no patches. I'm not wearing any extra nothing. No nothing. Just straight up just black and press. That's all I need. So I got a really nice jacket. Okay, it's got like moisture wicking shit. It's got some fleece on the inside so it'll be warm. Nice little fleece layer on the inside, really good. So this will be like my outer jacket that I got for myself. I got new boots, so we're new boot goofing. Okay, new boot goofing. This shit's so light. This is the lightest boot I've ever, because the boots I currently have and shit are so heavy. This is like, bro, there's no weight to this thing at all. So I love that. I put it on, feels great. Feet aren't heavy, because that's the one thing that does suck, because when you're out there standing for hours and hours, is the feet. But I got to break them in still. I still got to like mold them. But all that's going in my little backpack. I got a go bag now. Okay, little go bag backpack. It's already kind of full. I've been filling it as things come in. Like my socks are already in. I already got my socks. Other stuff's in there. My belt's here. I got my pants. I got my new pants. Just came in. Okay, I'm ready. We're ready to tap back in. But I didn't have any. Like I just had various equipment for the past 5 years, and what I was able to bring with me to like Ukraine. I left a lot of stuff in Ukraine though. I didn't think Trump would be president. I just thought there would be no way that we go back to the environment that we had, but here we are. Okay, it just is what it is. So a lot of the stuff that I did have, like my duffel bags, I left armor, I left a lot of stuff in Ukraine when I'd go there for the past few years. So I had to buy a bunch of new shit. Okay, got these new cool pants that'll help me be versatile, be able to move around quickly. They're pretty light too. Pretty light. They feel like some good material. So I'll get that packed away. What else did I get? I really like this brand. This Bamboo Cool. Opening gifts. It's Christmas in October, but for protection, for personal protection. But a lot of the clothing I have though, I need it to be moisture wicking and stuff, so I can like, because I'm gonna be sweating. I mean, it's hot and underneath all that shit, wearing the armor and everything. So I got a bunch of shirts. Let's go shirts. W t-shirts. Hell yeah. Okay, so moisture wicking shirts. I gotta roll those up and pack those up in the bag. What else I get? I think I got a couple pairs of. I think I got a couple hoodies. I don't know if those came yet or not, but I swear I got a couple hoodie tops. This must be the black pants. He told you I love Kit too. Yeah, Kit's fun. These are the black pants. I got black pants and I got those charcoal color ones. I just didn't want to get the olive green ones because then I would look like a fucking agent. I'd look like a federal agent with that shit. So I had to get two colors at least that are not Oppie. No Oppie colors. That's the one. That's the hardest part with getting military shit that you're not using for military stuff is you don't want to look Oppie. Or like you're fucking, like you're a Fed personally. Because and it just is what it is. Like I served in the military. I know shit that's good. I know how to wear equipment, and it just is what it is. But I'm not with the government. Okay, I'm here, but I'm not with the government. I don't know what I got here. What's this? I don't know what I just buy. I just was buying shit on Amazon. Just buy. You guys ever do that? You just go on Amazon and just start buying stuff. Oh, this is what it is. Nice. I needed this. A lightweight. This is a lightweight hoodie. It's almost kind of like a very thin long sleeve, but with a hoodie on the top. See, this is heavy. This is really thick. Like normal hoodies are just super thick and like don't breathe well. This shit is gonna be gas, so I can actually wear multiple layers under it, but still have a hoodie. I think I got two of these. I don't know where the other one went. I swear I have another one around here. Or I thought I ordered two of them. If not, I'll order another one. That's nice. All right. And that's the unboxing of stuff I've gotten, plus the bag. All good to go. Everything's all set. So what I'm going to do is, and why I'm showing you this is because in a situation like when Trump activates the military and sends them somewhere, a lot of people wanted me to go to Portland, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then I took inventory of my stuff and what I have and what I don't have, and I'm like, oh no, I would have went to Portland half cocked. I would have went there half cocked, but I'm like almost ready now. I just need to wait for the gear that we just got with the plates and the helmet and the mask. But I mean, I'm like, if we have to go to Chicago though, and we got to go there before the plates and stuff get here. I mean, I can. I mean, I'll live with this. Like, we'll make it work. I can live with my mask. My helmet will be fine. Like the one I currently have. It's just not optimal yet, but I'll wear that stuff for now. But I have all the clothing and stuff I need now, so I'm ready. So that's what we're gonna do from when the days that we have big breaking news, like days like today where I'm just talking and going over the news and we don't have a whole lot of people that watch yet. We got to build that still. So it's just is what it is. But when big breaking news happens and people want to know what's going on the ground, you can send me and we'll go there and I'll provide coverage, even if it's for just like the night or 2 days. I don't need to be there for days and days and days. I'll just get like a quick hotel room or a motel or whatever, and then go to the scene and just I don't need anything fancy. I'll just bring what I have and what I got there. But I needed to get all of that because I didn't have any of that stuff yet. And like I said, a lot of the stuff I did have, I donated to Ukraine. And my trips that we went, a lot of you guys did too. A lot of people sent duffel bags or medical items, and I would just bring it with. But then also a lot of the stuff I had from my service I had brought with too, and just left it there because I didn't foresee Trump winning. I thought this was the dumbest campaign ever. I thought there's no way that this guy could be president again, and I was wrong. Ended up winning, and now we're in an environment where you got to get armor and helmets and vests and all this protective gear just to go outside in this administration for anything, for political events or protests, etc., etc. So that's just the environment that we have under this presidency. So you just got to meet the moment. You just got to meet the moment. All right, so you got the shutdown still taking place. You got the Republicans are still lying about it. I even shared an updated image that highlights the words because Republicans are sharing it, and they're just lying. They're just lying about the Democrats wanting to give Medicare and healthcare benefits to illegal, undocumented immigrants, and it just is impossible and doesn't happen. There's certain states that want to implement it into their own state Medicare programs, like New York. That's about it. But in terms of the federal government and federal money and the ACA, illegal immigrants are not able to receive it. Or undocumented immigrants, aliens, however the language you want to use. The government's using alien, and they are not eligible for Affordable Care Act or anything like that. And it's written out loud. It's written here for everyone to see. You just need to read the words. And that's another issue, is people don't read. People don't take the time to read or critically look at things. They want quick headlines. They want the quick take. They want a fast TikTok. That's what they want. They don't want to take the time to like read and comprehend and analyze, which is what every single person needs to do. Okay, I do it, but we need everyone to do it. I know it's not going to happen, but you need to read and take like 2 minutes. And Republicans are like, we're in a reality where our people don't read. Our people don't look at anything. We're just going to tell them. We're just going to say whatever now. That's the strategy in the Republican Party, is they're banking on their own base to not read or look at or even look at it. They know their base is just going to watch Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, and then also their litany of podcasters tell them what's going on. So they don't need to, and then the GOP themselves, can just come out and lie because they know their people aren't going to read it. Or if someone says, GOP, you're lying, they'll just go, it's fake news. Even in their posts. So this is the official GOP account. Thank you, Ryan, for becoming a supporter of the channel. Thank you, Freebird, for the 10. I always miss your live. Sorry, totally supporting you. Thanks. Thank you. Well, you're here now. Democrats are fighting for health care for illegal aliens, not the American people. And then they literally share the image showing what I've showed you guys. Okay? And there is nothing about illegals or illegal aliens in the words. It's right there on the paper. Democrats are fighting healthcare for illegal aliens, not the American people. And then you read it, and then you're like, okay, GOP, what does it say? But they cut off the one part, or they cut off the part where you have to read it, and it says that only legal immigrants, this is MAGA, only legal immigrants are able to receive the healthcare. But I've told you guys for a long time now that Republicans don't want legal immigration either. They just say that to gaslight themselves. They're not gaslighting or others. I'm not gaslit by them anymore. I don't give a fuck what they say. I'm done talking to them. I'm done debating them. I'm watching others still host debates with MAGA, and I'm just like, gotta be like a debate porn addict or something to watch that. It's cancer. Who wants to sit there and watch a mental patient talk about things? That's what they are. They're fucking. They should be in a mental institution. That's what we're dealing with MAGA. They're not worth talking to because they lie like this. And like, what's the point when your opponent or whatever is bringing lies in a different reality? They're bringing a completely alternate reality with lies about the one we're living in. And then in order to like come together with them, you have to accept lies, egregious lies, not opinions about life and like what they think they believe. So what even does a Republican believe in anymore? Who knows? But they bring lies, pure lies. And I was raised by conservatives, and I was told lying is bad. I was always told about how lying, don't ever lie. Lying is the path to hell is paved with lies or whatever, good intention lies. I don't know. All these stupid conservative parables I was taught that none of them believe in anymore. Because what is this? Got to be an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence. An alien who has been granted the status of Cuban and Haitian entrant as defined in Section 501 with the Refugee Education Assistance Act. Or for an addition, an individual who lawfully resides in the United States. Not once does it say illegal aliens, undocumented aliens, or however you want to refer to them. The language is refugee and alien here. Immigrant, that's the language being used. There's nothing about an undocumented or illegal immigrant receiving these benefits. And they never have. Never, ever have. But you have these Republicans, and when do you think it's like gonna... like, lying only can go so far. Unless we are truly going down a road of this country of Orwell 1984 world. Are we really doing that? And that's the question everybody should be asking themselves. Because it's one thing to have a difference of opinion. It's another to just completely lie. And then gaslight and say that the lying is the opinion. Because that's what these Republicans are doing. They're lying. Not trying to not seeing it differently. They're not because like they're little victims and they're being bullied or whatever the fuck. They are lying. Point blank, period. End of story. Liars. And eventually it's got to come back. This has got to come back to haunt them. It's haunting us. It's haunting the American people. It's haunting all of America. The Republicans have to pay for this. They need to be held accountable for these lies. They need to be put in prison. That's what I'm telling you. Biden was too weak for me when it came for a lot of things. He did great policies wise in terms of like benefits. CHIPS Act was great. Childcare, all that, all good stuff domestically. But when it comes to holding MAGA accountable, putting Trump in Gitmo, helping Ukraine with weapons to fight the Russians, actually weak. Sucked. I wanted Trump in a fucking hole. I wanted Trump like we did to Saddam Hussein and all of his supporters put in a federal penitentiary. But guess what happened? Trump's our president again, and all of them got let out. All of the January 6th terrorists were let out and forgiven. That's what actually happened. So what I wanted was nothing close to that at all. They should have all been in a federal hole. And the most violent ones that were child predators, because there's a good amount of those January 6th insurrectionists that are like child predators. They should have been put in a solitary confinement and sat in there for the rest of their life. And that's what I'm for. That's what I would do if I was president. Trump would have been Saddam'd. And then also the 1,600 January 6 terrorists would be put in the same terroristic facilities that we did to the Al-Qaeda. That's what I would have done. 100%. Do you hear any Democrats calling for that? No. But I'm called a Democrat all day long or whatever. You don't hear one Democratic politician calling for that shit. That's what I want, though. That's what the only thing that's going to fix this country is these people and MAGA and the Republicans need to find out because they keep fucking around. And these lies are destroying us because that's what they do. They lie. They don't try to argue in good faith. They don't try to bring good ideas to the table. It's, oh, we will lower the drug costs, but you got to subscribe to Trump RX. What kind of fuck shit is that? Enriching himself while he's the president. That's just recently. You can try. I mean, it's going to happen. What do you mean, going to try? Like this? Where else do you think this is going? Honestly, where do you think this is going? These lies need to be met eventually, and they will be. Okay, I don't know what else you want to hear. These lies cannot stand, and if they do, then it's going to be met. And whatever happens from there, what happens from there. But I'm not with the lying. I'm just we can't live in a country like this. But also more lies today beyond obviously the reason the government shut down from the Republicans. You got another lie from Donald Trump, who back in 2024, obviously, that's why I even read Project 2025 on stream for hours and hours and hours and hours. Because Republicans were lying again, and Trump was lying again, like usual, because that's all they know how to do. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. And then MAGA, in my comments and in the replies, were like, you see, Trump don't know about it. Yeah, Trump don't know about the Project 2025. He never even heard of it. All of them. Like little fucking cult little sheep that they are. Okay, that's why you don't talk to them. You don't debate them. They're a little cult. They're a bunch of fucking sheep, and that's what they need to be herded. Why the fuck are you going to talk to his sheep? The fuck are you going to do with that when you got to put a wolf in there to get them to move around and tell them where to go? They need a shepherd. I'm not the shepherd. I'm the fucking wolf. So you go to Truth Social, and then you look at Donald Trump's post today, and because you can look at the screenshots on X, but I'm just going to show you guys the source. I had a meeting with Russ Vought. He is of Project 2025 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity. They are not stupid people, so maybe this is their way of wanting to and quietly make America great again. Man, I don't know nothing about Project 2025 in 2024. 2025 when he's president. Yeah, I had a meeting with the author. This is a guy who wrote it. Russ Vought wrote Project 2025. And then what are they doing? They're doing Doge with it, which is what it was always intended for. Doge was just something to give Elon something to stim with for a while, and to give the dumbest conservatives that follow Elon, they give them something to huff for a little bit. Elon's little they had to cater to Elon's little fan base for a while. That's what it was, because Elon does have his own fan base, and they had to figure out a way to make them happy, make Elon happy, and so they made Doge. But it really was all going to be in Project 2025. That's why when Doge came out, I was like, "What the fuck is this now?" It's probably an arm of Project 2025, but they named it Doge. Really? Anyways, none of that mattered, because here Trump is like, "Yeah, we're gonna do Project 2025. I'm meeting with them, and we're doing Doge, but we're not calling it that because that was some stupid cringe shit we did with Elon Musk to make his community stim, Elon community, make him happy for a while." I fucking hate these people, dude. There's no other way. There's no other ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like there's hatred. It ain't disagreement. Like, cause what are we supposed to do? How do we come together when you got liars like this? Like, what do you do? Other than call it out, I guess, and say that's lies. But then that only gets you so far if they keep doing it. So Project 2025, again, for the 18,000th time, is real. If you coped in last year and you didn't think that that was a serious thing or whatever, I want to know why. I don't know. Is it because of all of the noise? Is it because of all the news and it's just so confusing and you didn't know what's real and what's fake, and then you just saw that and it looked fake, I guess? Did you allow Donald Trump to prevent you from reading it or listening to what's in there? It's basically the exact environment that we're living in right now. Calling all the military generals, that's part of Project 2025. That's one. The stripping of the healthcare, gutting agencies, firing a fuckload of federal workers, all in there. All it's taking the reins of government. I think it's the taking the reins of government chapter. Never in my life have I seen an actual fucking blueprint to. Do they take the website down? A blueprint to that is going to destroy our country. Be so just. What is that? I don't even know what that is. Trump said he doesn't believe it, or he doesn't believe in it, or something. Where is the website? The mandate for leadership, conservative. It's taking the reins of government. Yeah, here you go. Section 1. We're in section 1. So, and if you like, bro, I'm not going to keep throwing it in people's faces that didn't vote last year or voted whatever, but boy, L. Fat fucking L. So we're in taking the reins of government, but they're also flirting with the common defense part because that's the part of calling the generals in that they just did like 2 days ago. Everything that is written in this and all of the scary things that Kamala said are coming true. Sending the military into the cities. It's just how much you want to cope and recognize that it's like, someone will save us. Someone will stop it. Never have I seen a document to where you can read all of it. All of the crazy shit that is happening right now is all written in this. All of it is written in this document. It's fucking 900 and some pages, so it's a lot of reading. Maybe that's what it was. 900 pages. I ain't read. That's too much. It's too much work. Too much work to read exactly what we're living through in this government. What's coming up? The media agencies, which is slowly happening. U.S. Agency for Global Media, so making state media, that's coming up. Here, show you guys quick. Just tell you guys what's coming. So, you already got taking the reins of government. That's already happened. You got the Department of Defense getting weakened. Kristi Noem's the Homeland Security is already happening with the ICE recruitment. Yeah, it's gutting the intelligence community to form more around Donald Trump. Media agencies, we're gonna have state media. What else is gonna happen? Department of Education is gonna get gutted. Agriculture is gonna change to, well, now we're giving money to Argentina. Like, if you're just a regular old farmer that isn't connected to anything corporate, you're fucked. Is what it is, I guess. Department of Health and Human Services. Oh, that's DEI stuff, so they cut that. Same with urban development. All this was cut. This was all part of the original first round of the Doge cuts, which that's why it threw me off, because it's written in Project 2025, and I didn't know what Doge was. They didn't have Doge in this. But now that we know that Trump is meeting with the author, I think Doge was just for Elon and just to give him something and his stupid followers something to watch and be involved in for a little bit. Because then obviously when they broke up, you had Elon say Trump is in the Epstein files, and like they had a public fight and shit. Because I think Elon recognized, oh, I was just being used, but he was okay with it though. He had to have known he was being used for his money because he's just as crazy as they are. So yeah, I mean, you can read it, and now it's like a blueprint to what's gonna happen. But you could have read it to know, instead of like listening to fucking Hassan or being MAGA. Well, one of the way, because Hassan was just as bad as MAGA was about the election, and did more damage to get people to vote and then lobby and then try to advocate for more, because that's the strat. The strat was to get Kamala in there, and then throughout the 4 years, advocate for progressive policies, because the Democrats go based upon what the culture does actually say. Eventually, not all of them do, But if there's enough energy around, like, hey, we want more progressive policies, we want to pull out of Gaza, we want no support to Gaza at all. The only way through that was to get Harris in the office. But we had a bunch of dumb fucking idiots last year. That's what we had in America. A lot of dumbasses out here that didn't see the forest for the trees. Is Kamala the best candidate ever? Fuck no. Was she like the best choice we could have ever had? No. But that's the one we fucking had. That's the one. That's what it was. And I guess in my brain I can put aside my personal things about what I want and this and that and bullshit, because I recognized this reality that we're living in now was pre-written, and people need to start doing that and start reading. They need to start challenging their brain and learning what's going on out here. We do on our channel. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the people that are just listening and not typing. A lot of the trolls that we get that usually type and type and type and type. I'm talking at them. I know most of my community did the right thing, even though it might have been against your political views to vote for a Democrat, or maybe you've never voted for a Democrat before, or Kamala Harris, who it just is not the most popular person for a candidate. It just is what it is. To prevent this, because through her 4 years, there was lots of room to lobby and for issues to bring to the Congress. Clearly, the Democrats are fine with massive protests at their events. So you could have the pro-Palestine protest, still could have been massive. Could have been out there, could have brought more people to the table. But no, now our energy is put into fighting Trump and his agenda. People do not think forward. There's no forward thinking. Like about if my actions are like this now, how will it impact the future? But I think maybe a lot of people sat out and voted for him because they want the country to get destroyed. Maybe that could be it too. Maybe they want the country to fail. America had a good run and they all want it to come crashing down. So maybe kind of like some nihilism. I don't know. Could be that too. Then I don't know how to argue that one. Just want it to fall. Okay. I just want America to not be a country anymore, I guess, because that's where we're going. Can't undo the past. Can't go back and vote now. Can't do that again. But what you can do, if you sat out or you voted for him, is they got the midterms coming up. That's the best you can do. That's the best thing you can do to remedy your fuck up, because that's what it was. It was a fuck up last year. If you sat out of the election or didn't vote for Harris, I'm just going to tell you it straight up, point blank period. You have the freedom to vote for who you want. I support your freedom to vote for who you want. But I'm going to tell you, you fucked up, though. I'm still going to tell you, hey, you fucked up. Because, hey, I have the freedom to go out and do what I want, but if I fuck up, someone better tell me I fucked up. Until we have an America with multiple parties that are worth a damn, and we can do that, this is the fight we have right now. It just is what it is. We don't have an America where you got Republicans and Democrats and they just fight against each other with policies. That's not how it works. Republicans don't have policies. They're fighting culture war. They're fighting the American people. That's what they're doing. They're fighting internally. Democrats are trying to fight that now. Also put forth good policies that actually work. Still need to pay attention to them. But you got America of two parties. One of them is fighting Americans and fighting the culture of America. And the other one is weak against that, but then like act as if like they're just a resistance, really just a resistance, and aren't like their own strong party sometimes, like the Democrats do. Or you get John Fetterman's in there who are literally like a Republican but put a D in their name, and that sucks. Okay, because there's for centrism or whatever. Centrism is going to do nothing for America, not a single thing right now. When our pendulum is so far on the right, and we've been pulled so far to the right, centrism will only just provide a temporary placeholder to then go back into the far right again. You need it to pull the other way. You need it to be pulled into a progressive way, far away from any of this. And if you're like on the fence and you want to be a centrist right now, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Not optimal. Not an optimal choice. You're not going to find many friends doing that. And maybe you don't want friends. I don't know. Or you don't care. but being on the fence between Donald Trump and the Democrats right now, not a place I'm going to be. I'm not going to sit there because you're just kind of just sitting there. I hope we get more parties. I really do. I hope America will awake from all of this at the end of the day and we get multiple parties to choose from. But that's what it is. That's what we got. And if you're going to sit there and cry about a reality that we don't have and be like, I can't vote for the Democrats, that we need more until we get that, it is what it is. Got to play the game. Yeah, got to play the game. And the game is Republicans versus Democrats. That's what we got. Don't have enough time for multiple parties until they do. Or if they do. You need a billionaire, though. You need someone rich to fund another party or money to go into it. It ain't just going to happen out of nowhere that actually can win. Just being real. For those that are lost regarding the shutdown, Democrats proposed a budget that would prevent existing healthcare subsidies from being cut. Republicans voted this budget down and told Democrats to go fuck yourself. Now they're trying to cover themselves. As the Democrats put up a bill to extend the funding right before the deadline. 60 votes were needed, and Republicans were not interested. But also, Republicans control the entire government. Republicans control the presidency, they control the House, they control the Senate, and they control the Supreme Court. They control everything. 4 for 4. All of it. And also, this is the same president who, when he was calling into Fox News, he was saying, "Oh, it's whoever's the president is responsible." Wish I had the quote. When Obama was president, Donald Trump's own words on government shutdown used against him. Here it is.
It would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together.
The president's the leader, and he's got to get everybody in a room, and he's got to lead, and he doesn't do that. He doesn't like doing that. That's not his strength. 25 years and 50 years and 100 years from now, when the government is, when they talk about the government shutdown, they're going to be talking about the President of the United States. Who was the president at that time? Mm-hmm. They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate.
You have to get everybody in a room. You have to be a leader. The president has to lead. He's got to get Mr. Boehner and everybody else in a room, and they have to make a deal. And unfortunately, he's never been a deal maker.
This was Trump pre-neck pussy.
That wasn't his expertise before he went into politics, and it's obviously not his expertise now. But the fact is that the president in 20 years from now and in 100 years from now, when you talk about the Obama administration, they're not going to be talking about Boehner. They're not going to be talking about Reid. They're not going to be talking about any of these people. They're going to be talking about Obama. And in terms of legacy, I think it's very important for him to make a deal. I mean, you just have a president that is not leading and not getting people into a room. You have to get people in a room, and you have to just make deals for the good of the country.
Who's that? Who's that guy?
Government shutdown. They're blaming the president, folks. They're blaming the president.
Just a clown. Literally, like Lawrence O'Donnell called him, a fucking clown. That's what Trump is. So when Obama president, then the buck stopped with Obama. But then when he president, it's the Democrats. But the Republicans control like everything. Somebody go spray paint that. I don't know where it is. When the media is gaslighting you, remember this. In the 2020 debate, really, we're going back to that. When you share that, so this is noise. This is Republican propaganda, not 101. So when obviously they share the truth in your face, and that's what they do. It's like the Russians do. It's like they have like Russian style propaganda. Or yeah, it's got to be that way. The Russians fund them. So when they put in your face the bill, and you can clearly read, because I hope you can read, that it's about lawful refugees, lawful immigrants, no illegals. Okay. Then they go, okay, well, remember back in 2020 when the candidates said they'd raise their hand for providing coverage for illegals, and they did? Yeah. Remember that? And then they hope that means something to you. Republicans hope that this means something to you in 2025 in the government shutdown right now.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented
And in 2020 too, by the way, this is the 2020 election.
immigrants.
Do we have health care for, again, it's been 5 years. Biden won. Do we have health care for illegal immigrants in the federal government? Nope. Do we have it? Nope, we don't. So this is noise, Republican propaganda noise. And that's how they operate. This is how Fox News works. This is how all Republican politicians work and how they operate their propaganda, to be like, oh yeah. So then you could get someone who can't think critically to go, oh yeah, I remember when you did that. And they all support illegal. Yeah. It's just noise to distract you from the fact that there is no ACA for illegal immigrants. And that's what Republicans do all day long, all day. So you got to realize, that's just a tweet here, but this makes up for like Republican media all day. They're watching this shit and this type of gaslighting. Ironically, every accusation's admittance. They're the ones that are gaslighting about the bill. So stupid. New extensive government study proves Democrats are mentally retarded. Wow. Trump commentary from Donald J. Trump post from his Truth Social. Incredible. Jesus, dude.
Usually, the mentally retarded are divided into classifications: the educable, the trainable, and the custodial. Obviously, we can only assess the abilities or potential of the mentally retarded on an individual basis.
They're including wow. So we're at Merc, you gotta have conversations with them. You gotta talk. You gotta talk it out. You just gotta talk. And this is what they're offering. This is what MAGA's offering from the president. De Niro. Is Robert De Niro even a politician? He's just a popular actor that speaks out against MAGA. He's not even in the government. Democratic leaders in Congress challenged Trump and the GOP leaders to meet in front of the press on Friday.
I want to just ask you directly. Tomorrow would be Friday, October 3rd. Today we're recording this October 2nd of 2025. Are you willing to meet with Vice President J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, and Senate Majority Leader Thune in public before the press at the Capitol building tomorrow? Are you willing to tell him that right now in front of the world that you are ready to, I know you were ready to do that before, that you're ready to do it again in front of the press this time?
Absolutely. Anytime, any place. And we want to make sure that it's fully transparent. So we should absolutely do it in public so we can air out our positions. And they're hiding because they know their positions are indefensible. This is a Trump Republican shutdown. And it's part of what we've seen from them in terms of unleashing extremism from the very beginning of this presidency. This may be day 2 of the Trump shutdown. It's, I think, day 256 of the chaos that Donald Trump has unleashed on the American people.
So in response to that clip of J.D. Vance that I just played, so there's no ambiguity out there, Democratic leader Jeffries is saying to Donald Trump, to Senator Thune, to J.D.
You don't have to be always being all weird. You don't have to dress up what he's already saying. So they want to hold a town hall, it sounds like, with Trump and air out, but that he's not going to accept that. Kamala Harris tweeted. I've been tweeting a whole lot lately. That was always the plan. Project 2025 was Donald Trump's blueprint to seize unchecked power within the federal government and restrict Americans' freedoms. And he is implementing it right in front of our eyes. Tried to warn you. Tried to warn you. They're relying again. I just entered an article in the Record today during the House oversight about Project 2025.
I'd like to enter for the record a Fox News interview by Brett Baer with Heritage Foundation Kevin Roberts. Kevin Roberts stated for the record, he also published Project 2025, that Mr. Trump is telling the truth, confirming on Fox that Trump never collaborated on Project 2025 and never endorsed it, nor has Heritage Foundation endorsed Trump for president. Democrats are lying over and over and over again about Project 2025 and President Trump.
Every single thing has been right. Every single thing has been true. Everything. Not even just no hyperbole, no trying to fearmonger, no trying to make it bigger than what it is. It is what it is, and we're living it. It's all written there, and we're living it out every day. The attacks on the healthcare and Medicare is part of it. And some other ones. Man who was devastated under the last Trump shutdown still voted Trump and now fears the shutdown. Wow. The last shutdown was brutal, one federal worker told me. He wants to remain anonymous, but says the previous 35-day shutdown in 2018 forced me to withdraw money from my retirement plan just to cover my bills. It's now more difficult to do this, he says, adding that if the shutdown goes on as long as the last, he doesn't know how he will pay his bills. I voted for Trump, but I did not vote for his abuses against us. Hot stove theory. Hot stove. Ow. 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 Well, at least I don't vote for a Democrat. Ow. You know, that's like a lot. That's a lot of the people that voted for Trump are like this. Oh, man, I suffered through the first presidency. I nearly died from COVID or something. Man, the shutdown hurt me and my family, and I nearly had to pull out of my retirement funds, but I voted for him again thinking it would be different. Because I just can't vote for a Democrat. I just can't do it. I just can't. And then the gaslight as if it's like our fault that they have a personal problem and not being able to vote for the other political party. Like, bro, you're in a cult, not my fault. Not my problem. It's hard to articulate how shameless some of these, not some, all. No, Chris, I just, it's all of these, all of them. Not some, not onesies and twosies. The majority or all of MAGA are like this. So back in 2024, fact check, Project 2025 has nothing to do with Trump. Fast forward to 2025. Make the cuts permanent, he says in approval to Donald Trump's Truth Social post. They don't believe in anything. They have no values, no spine, and they're all shameless. And then honestly, when they're debating, they're pretending. They're playing an act. MAGA's acting. They don't care about the spirit of debate. They want you to be them. And if you're not them, then they will pretend to debate and gaslight and play this game, and then they'll end with, oh, isn't it great to have opinions? Oh God, aren't conversations great? And that's where it goes every time. Trump scammed you. He is and always was Project 2025. Harris repeats claim that Project 2025 is still Trump's plan. That's still not right, from Brianna J. Frank. Now, how'd that go? Democrats have sought to tie former President Donald Trump to Project 2025 in recent months, and Tuesday's debate between Trump and Vice President Harris was no exception. But in the debate and elsewhere, Trump has claimed he has nothing to do with it, and we took his words at value. His word in the media, and we're here not to help. Yeah, well, Trump said he doesn't know anything about it, and Trump lies on record. Trump's lied more than Stalin at this point. You know, Trump is the biggest liar of all politicians that have ever ruled any country, more than Hitler, more than Stalin, more than any genocidal dictator you can think of. Trump has lied at least 3 to 4 times more than they did. And they were able to fucking start world wars with the amount of, that's what's actually scary. You had Hitler and Mussolini, Mussolini, Stalin, all contribute to World War II and start it and make it worse. And Trump is lying at scale compared to they were. Trump is lying 3-4 times higher than they ever did. And they were able to move the world like that. Those evil people, the evil leaders that we've had. Got Trump bailing out Argentina. Let's check in. Let's check in with the government. Is there anything? Is there any feed of the government today? Probably not. They probably just gave up. Oh, they had the Senate floor live yesterday, but not today then? They have Senate floor. I'm sure C-SPAN has a feed in there. Maybe not. Oh, they had it during the daytime. Okay. Yeah, they had a couple hour stream today, it looks like, but didn't go anywhere. Thune spoke. Okay. Nothing though. Nothing changed about the government. Still shut down. You had Mike Johnson press conference. Who he cried that CNN cut off his presser. If I can find it. Yeah, here it was. That's a lot of, we'll just listen to the Mike Johnson part. It's a lot of Republican lies. Hey, what up, Shanks? Still get his money during a shutdown, right? He's still going to get funding for his ballroom, too.
Well, welcome everybody to day 2 of the Democrat shutdown. Let's make absolutely clear what's happening here. Real pain is being inflicted upon the American people because 44 Democrats in the Senate have voted for the 3rd time to reject the completely nonpartisan, completely clean, very simple 24-page continuing resolution that we passed in the House here 2 weeks ago. Now, why did we do that? For a refresher for everyone. We have been working very hard, this leadership team, to get Congress working again. Congress has not done the appropriations process appropriately for many years now, and so we have forced the muscle memory back. Our appropriators have done a great job in bipartisan fashion, by the way, and they've worked very hard and passed 12 separate appropriations bills through the committee as is supposed to be done. We passed 3 of those off the House floor. The Senate did its work. For the first time in years, the Senate passed 3 appropriations bills off the floor. Those bills don't match up exactly. So the way the system works, everybody remembers from civics, is that when the 2 chambers have bills that don't align perfectly, you put together a conference committee. That's been done. All of that work's been done very deliberately, very carefully, and as good stewards of taxpayer resources. The problem is we ran out of time because the end of the fiscal year is September 30th. So we did the logical, simple.
You ran out of time? You were late, ran out of time. Can I say that? Can you guys say that for your taxes? Oops. Hey, I ran out of time. You can't say that, huh?
Good faith thing. Instead of loading up a continuing resolution to keep the lights on, to keep the government open so this process can continue, instead of loading it up with poison pills or gimmicks or tricks, we sent over a very simple continuing resolution that every single Democrat in the Senate has voted for in the past, just to keep the government open for the people, so that we could get to November 21st, 7 weeks, to allow more time for this process to play out. That is what happened. Now, the Democrats did something they've never done before. Chuck Schumer has led them all to vote against it. Everybody's been discussing this for the last few days. Why in the world would Chuck Schumer do a 180-degree turn? Because he said passionately, as recently as March of this year, on the same instrument, the same CR, that it would be reckless and irresponsible and dangerous to close down the federal government. Why did Chuck Schumer change his tune? Everybody knows that now. He's trying to avoid a challenge from his left flank in his next Senate re-election campaign. And he wants to avoid the scrutiny that he received for doing the right thing back in March because the far left and the base really went crazy on poor Chuck Schumer.
The far left and the base. So because Chuck Schumer actually listened to the people that voted for him and he isn't some placeholder cuck for the Republican Party. Wow. That should tell you about Democrats like Chuck Schumer, though. That Republicans think that they can have him in just a controlled opposition spot. And when they actually listen to their own voter base, it's like, oh, the drama. Oh, they listen to their voters? How could they?
Schumer. And so he changed his tune. And now they're trying to pretend it's about something completely different. They have made a decision that they would rather give taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens.
And that's a lie. Pure lie. So all that shit you said for the first few minutes was lies, and now, or just some nonsense, irrelevant shit, and now here's the lie. So again, no illegal immigrants receive Affordable Care Act or any type of federal government subsidies for their health care. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
Than to keep the doors open for the American people, to keep vital services, veteran services, healthcare and nutrition for women, infants, and children. They would rather not pay the troops and TSA agents and Border Patrol agents. They would rather stop services of FEMA in the middle of a hurricane season than to do the right thing.
No, more like you guys are gutting the whole government for all those agencies before the government shut down. The gaslighting. Think of the workers and the agents, but you were firing like hundreds of thousands of them for DEI and other bullshit prior to this government shutdown.
Partisan political purposes. It is selfish, it is reprehensible, and it is exactly the opposite of what they have all said themselves in their own words very passionately every day until now. We've been playing the greatest hits loop here on a video right outside the Speaker's office for days. You've all seen it. Make them answer for that. Don't ask the Republicans what we should be doing or what we should be negotiating. I don't have anything to negotiate. I sent them.
You don't have anything to negotiate. You have the power of the House for now. Look at how weak they are. We can't do anything. We only have the House, the Senate, the presidency, and everything. We just can't get anything done. Good. Move out of the way. Democrats, take back the power. The fuck out of the way, then.
In good faith. Exactly what they had voted for before. We did not put any Republican provisions in that. And we tried to make this very...
Mike Johnson would rather go watch porn with his son. That's what Mike Johnson wants to do. He can't wait to get off work and go fire up a hub video.
Simple. In good faith. So the appropriations process of the people can continue.
Go have a bait session.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about, they say that we're making this up, this illegal aliens receiving taxpayer benefits. It's a talking point, they said. I want to remind you of a couple of key facts. Everybody can remember, I think, back to 2020. In the presidential debate for all the candidates on the Democrat side, you might remember famously they were asked the question. Raise your hand, they said on the stage, if you believe that illegal aliens should receive...
So it's all targeted propaganda. He's bringing up this. See how they feed themselves? See how Republicans feed themselves of propaganda? So we're bringing up the hands raised. Where'd I put that now? Where'd I put that? We're bringing up the hands raised in the 2020 election. Irrelevant. I don't know where I put it. You guys we watched it like 10 minutes ago. That it doesn't. It's irrelevant of the fact that there's no immigrants getting health care. It doesn't distract from the fact that immigrants are not or illegal immigrants are not receiving the ACA. See, but he's saying this because he watched that same tweet we did, or Republicans, they send it to each other in group chats. That's how it works. That's how Republicans work. They all have a narrative, and they all get each other in on the narrative, and then that's what they go with for the day. And that's Republican politics 101. So he's saying that because of the tweet that we saw and the video that was put out, likely also shared to him and his team, to say, hey, use this one, bring up to 2020, the 2020 election cycle, and when they all raise their hand on stage. And then don't mention the fact that Biden won, and then none of that was implemented. And now Trump's president, and it's still not implemented. But that would ruin their lie about Democrats wanting funding for illegal immigrants in the ACA. They want to extend the funding for Americans that are on it. Because if they don't, then it will expire. And then you got to work with Republicans to negotiate an extension, which the Republicans want to destroy the ACA. They want the ACA gone.
Receive health care paid for by American taxpayers. Every single one of them raised their hand. To great applause in the audience from the Democrats who were there. Those hands included Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, what did they do? Did they follow through on that promise? Yeah, they absolutely did. Joe Biden used executive orders, and he expanded benefits, health care, to illegal aliens in his 4-year term. That was an outrageous violation of the existing federal law and of the principles of good stewardship. Those resources are not meant for people who break the law and come into our country. They're meant for U.S. citizens. And so they watered down these health programs. It was terribly dangerous. Then, so we got the majority. President Trump has returned to the Oval Office with a mandate of 75 million Americans as a big popular vote win. The House Republicans received our largest popular vote total in the history of this institution. Republicans went immediately to work. And we passed the one big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. And we fulfilled all the promises that we made. One of the key promises that we made, because you all know that the open border was probably the #1 issue in the election cycle, was that we would end that madness. We would cut off resources, hard-earned taxpayer dollars by American citizens not going to
blah 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 blah
the border. And we did that.
blah 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 blah.
The Working Families Tax Cut included a huge provision. A big chunk of that bill was the health provisions. Now, why are we saying that
The health provisions.
they want to return and restore taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens? Because that's exactly what they did. When they
And it's not. They're just lying. Just lying.
rejected the clean CR that we sent over, the Senate Democrats, Chuck Schumer, filed a counter proposal. Now, what was in that counter proposal? You can see it for yourselves. In fact, if you're watching at home, go to my website right now, speaker.gov. Go to the press releases tab, and you'll see it. It's listed right there. Just click on it. I'd like you to turn in your hymnals to page 57, okay? Section 2141. It is there in black letter. They filed this. This is not a talking point. This is what they proposed. They wanted to add, instead of the clean CR that keeps the government open for 7 more weeks to allow us to finish the work, they proposed a wild list of partisan priorities. Among them, they want to return $500 million to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to prop up left-leaning and biased media organizations. We're not doing that. The American people don't want us to do that. We don't need the Corporation for Public Broadcasting funded by taxpayers anymore because we're in their age of ubiquitous media. There's, 200 of you guys here? There's so many outlets. We don't need to do that. We're not going to do that. They wanted to cut, in the Democrats' counter-proposal, I want you to read it for yourself, speaker.gov. Go there and check it out. They want to remove the rural hospital fund that Republicans fought so hard to put into the one big beautiful bill. We set $50 billion aside to take care of rural hospitals. Why would Chuck Schumer want to get rid of that?
To take care of rural hospitals.
I don't know. A lot of those rural hospitals are in red states. You have to decide for yourself what the motivations are here. But they say they're for health care. Why would they want to do that?
They did not do that.
The other thing that they put in there is very important. And on page 57 in section 2141, not a Republican talking point, read from the Democrats' document themselves. They said that they want to repeal the health provisions of the one big beautiful bill. Now, why is that so important? Because I want to tell you what those health provisions did. They eliminated all of the taxpayer-funded benefits going to illegals. There was an amendment that was sent
Taxpayer-funded benefits to illegals.
over to the Senate to ensure that illegals would not be getting health care paid for by taxpayer dollars. Illegal aliens, okay? 43 of the 47 Senate Democrats voted against that. This is just a few months ago. The bill was signed into law July 4th, and we cut all of that out. Let me tell you what some of those things are. The Democrats' counter-proposal CR, the dirty CR we call it, as opposed to the clean CR, would result in nearly
dirty
$200 billion
CR
being spent on illegal aliens and other non-citizens. Let me be specific. This is just a few of the reforms that we put in that they want to repeal and reverse. Number one, a provision that closes the California loophole. Now, that's a provision that's also been adopted by states like New York and Michigan and Massachusetts. Other states have followed, other blue states. The California loophole allows taxpayer-funded Medicaid for illegal aliens. We eliminated.
That's a state policy. What are you talking about? They really rely on their base to be stupid as fuck and not know a goddamn thing. You're talking about the state healthcare programs, which they have the right to do. I thought Republicans are about states' rights. I thought Republicans support states' rights and ability to have their own manifest destiny or whatever the fuck.
That in the big beautiful bill. Their counter offer is to repeal and reverse that. That would cost $34 billion of U.S. taxpayer funds. Number two, a provision that prohibits Medicaid from paying more for emergency care provided to illegal aliens than it does for American patients who are disabled or elderly or children. We eliminated that in their counter proposal that they have filed that you can read yourself. They want to repeal that. That would cost taxpayers $28 billion. Here's another one. Number three, they've counter proposed a provision that ends the Obamacare funding for non-citizens. The cost of that repeal would be $91 billion to all of you. Taxpayers, hardworking American citizens would be funding that.
Okay. I mean, how much longer do you want to listen to Mike Johnson lie? And then you got Steve Scalise go up there and lie, and then you get brother. It's just lies. Then he goes back up there and lies again. Well, he cried because CNN cut him out. I don't even want to listen to him. I just can't with the lies. I literally can't, because these, like, Mike Johnson should be put in a fucking gulag for this, in my opinion. If I was the leader, if I was the opposition leader, Mike Johnson and all these liars would be put in a gulag and have like one shitter to use between all of them. No more gay porn for Mike Johnson. Where's his account? He just posted it. the most liberal media outlets chose not to air the Q&A portion of our press conference. You had a Q&A portion? Is that what this was?
Yeah, he does. Okay, this is.
Peace.
Yeah, yeah.
Does the president have the constitutional authority, just because of a shutdown, to lay off thousands of federal government workers or withhold funding for congressionally approved projects that are already being moved?
Yeah, he does. Okay, this is the way the system works. This is Chuck Schumer's decision is to hand, as I said on a couple interviews yesterday, the keys to the kingdom to the president, right? He has put himself in that situation, and it's completely unnecessary. The president takes no pleasure in this. The president did not want to shut
Takes no pleasure in this.
down. I'm telling you this from my own testimony. I was in the Oval Office. He pleaded with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to do the right thing. Keep the government open. We'll talk about all these other issues later because that's how the process works. But failing that, because they've decided to vote to shut
Yeah, we'll talk about all these other issues by letting them expire. See how they lie by omission? Lies by omission is also a Republican strategy.
down. They have now effectively turned off the legislative branch, the Article 2 branch of, or the Article 1, sorry, the Article 1 branch of our government, and they've turned it over to the executive, okay? So in that situation, when Congress turns off the funding and the funding runs out, it is up to the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, to determine how those resources will be spent. He has that responsibility given to him by the Democrats in the Senate. They can't complain about it, and he doesn't want to do it. But in this scenario, what they have to do is make very difficult decisions. Most of the responsibility falls to Russ Vought. He's the director of the Office of Management and Budget, as you know. Whomever is seated in the chair at OMB during the shutdown has to do the same thing.
Russ Vought? Wait, is he the OMB chair? Oh, even better. The Project 2025 author. That's right. Yep. Incredible work. So Office of the Management and Budget wrote Project 2025. I forgot that. It's all coming together. All the fascism's coming together.
Russ does this reluctantly. We had a 45-minute telephone conference with him yesterday. He talked to all the House Republicans. He takes no pleasure in this because Russ has to sit down and decide, because he's in charge of that office, which policies, personnel.
He takes no pleasure in this.
That is not a fun task, and he is not enjoying that responsibility. And it could end today if the Senate Democrats would come to their senses and do the right thing for the American people. But if they don't, and if they keep the government closed, it's going to get more and more painful because the resources run out.
It's going to get more and more painful.
And more things have to be reduced and eliminated. Now, when he sits down as the director of OMB, he will obviously have a subjective determination on the priorities. And what do you think he would do? Because what would any OMB director do under any president? They're going to look to see for the administration's priorities first and ensure that those are funded. And so those are some very serious determinations that have to be.
So they're about to gut a bunch of shit by the power of Trump and the OMB because the government shut down. And then Republicans are going to go, wow, Democrats, you could stop this. Democrats, you could stop this, but you gotta come to our agreement. Gaslighting, abuser shit, abuser actions here.
We want to protect hardworking federal workers, and these are people who protect all the rest of us. By the way, we mentioned TSA agents, Border Patrol agents, our troops, the military, are not being paid, and so they're inflicting hardship on people for no reason. Is it constitutional? Is it lawful? Is it part of our system? Of course it is. It always has been. And the Democrats are the ones who have decided to inflict the pain, not the president. Back row.
Right. So that's why it was cut off. CNN is not news. They cut off the Republican press conference to censor the truth from the American people and lie about the facts.
The Working Families Tax Cut included a huge provision. A big chunk of that bill was the health provisions. Now, why are we saying that they want to restore taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens? Because that's exactly what they did. When they rejected the clean CR that we sent over, the Senate Democrats.
All right, we're listening here to Speaker Johnson. He's trying to frame the shutdown as a Democratic shutdown.
You need a journalist there to go at him and tell him, why are you lying? Mr. Speaker, why are you lying? That's what you need. Cutting him off is good, whatever, but like you need someone there personally to be like, yo, lying is bad. Why are you doing it? Newsom, if any California university signs a radical agreement to lose billions in state funding, including California grants, instantly. Trump administration asked colleges to sign compact to get funding preference. California will not bankroll schools that sell out their students, professors, researchers, and surrender academic freedom. Trump just listed domestic terror indicators and they're pretty wild. What? Oh boy.
Memo where he laid out so it's pretty wild that this isn't getting more coverage. I mean, a few days ago, President Trump released a memo where he laid out indicators of domestic terrorism, authorizing a joint
countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. I think it's really bad. Like it's full on. Like if you are opposed to Christian white nationalism, then you're a terrorist. Oops, what just happened? Countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence. National Security Presidential Memorandum for Secretary of State. And heinous assassinations and other acts of political violence in the U.S. have dramatically increased in recent years, even after the aftermath of the horrifying assassination of Charlie Kirk. Some individuals who adhere to the alleged shooter's ideology embraced and cheered this evil murder while actively encouraging more. This was precedented by the 2024 assassination of a senior healthcare executive and the 2022 assassination attempt against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Notice how they don't include any of the attacks on any Democratic politicians. This is a sick government, dude. We're forward as fuck. Riots in Los Angeles and Portland reflect more than 1,000% increase in attacks on U.S. immigration and customs enforcement officers. Separate anti-police and criminal justice riots have left many people dead and injured and inflicted over $2 billion in property damage nationwide. This political violence is not a series of isolated incidents. It has not emerged organically. It is a culmination of sophisticated, organized campaigns of targeted intimidation, radicalizations, threats, violence designed to silence opposing speech, limit political activity, and change or direct policy outcomes, and prevent the functioning of a democratic society. A new law enforcement strategy that investigates all participants in these criminal and terroristic conspiracies, including the organized structures, networks, entities, organizations, funding sources, and predicate actions behind them, is required. These campaigns often begin by isolating and dehumanizing specific targets to justify murder or other violent action against them. They do so through a variety of fora, including anonymous chat forums, in-person meetings, social media, and even educational institutions. These campaigns then escalate to organized doxing, where the private or identifying information of their targets, such as home addresses, phone numbers, or other personal information, is exposed to the public with the explicit intent of encouraging others to harass, intimidate, or violently assault them. Oh, you mean like Ryan Fournier and like all of MAGA did as soon as Charlie Kirk was killed and people didn't condemn it or like didn't care? And then MAGA was like, oh, you don't care? Wow, I'm going to get you fired. Wow, I'm sending all of this. I'm screenshotting your Facebook post and sending it to your boss. How'd you like that? Yeah. Take that. That's MAGA. But here they are. Here the government, the White House is projecting. As in the case of several ICE agents in LA being doxxed, the goal of these campaigns can be to obstruct the operations in the federal government, as well as aid and abet criminal activity in the federal government is lawfully pursuing. These campaigns are coordinated and perpetuated by actors who have developed a comprehensive strategy to achieve specific policy goals through radicalization and violent intimidation. There are common recurrent motivations and indicia, I wish it was indicia in uniting this pattern of violent and terroristic activities under the umbrella of self-described anti-fascism. These movements portray foundational American principles, which is support for law enforcement and border control, as fascist, to justify and encourage acts of violent revolution. This anti-fascist lie has become the organizing rallying cry used by domestic terrorists to wage a violent assault against democratic institutions, constitutional rights, and fundamental American liberties. Common threads animating this violent conduct include anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity. Jesus, dude. Support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. This is MAGA making themselves into like I told you, if you criticize MAGA or Trump or say anything against them, then you're going to be criminally prosecuted. And you think I was being hyperbolic? You think I was like just saying shit just because I like YouTube views or whatever? And I don't get that many, unless it's like some no shit situation. I don't say this because like I have millions of viewers and like I'm just speaking the truth of the situation that we're in. As described in the order of September 22nd, 2025, designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, the groups and entities that perpetuate this extremism have created a movement that embraces and elevates violence to achieve policy outcomes, including justifying additional assassinations. For example, Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin engraved the bullets used in the murder with the so-called anti-fascist rhetoric. The United States requires a national strategy to investigate and disrupt networks, entities, and organizations that foment political violence so that law enforcement can intervene in criminal conspiracies before they result in violent political attacks. Through this comprehensive strategy, law enforcement will disband and uproot networks, entities, and organizations that promote organized violence, violent intimidation, conspiracies against rights, and other efforts to disrupt the functioning of a democratic society. So the National Joint Terrorism Task Force and its local offices shall coordinate and supervise a comprehensive national strategy to investigate, prosecute, and disrupt entities and individuals engaged in acts of political violence and intimidation designed to suppress lawful political activity or obstruct the rule of law. This strategy shall include the investigatory and prosecutorial measures set forth in this section. The JTTF shall investigate potential federal crimes relating to acts of recruiting or radicalizing persons for the purpose of 1. Political violence, terrorism, or conspiracy against rights. 2. The violent deprivation of any citizen's rights. And then you got C. The JTTF shall also investigate institutional and individual funders and officers and employees and organizations that are responsible for, sponsor, or otherwise aid and abet the principal actors engaging in the criminal conduct described in subsections A and B of this section. And 2, non-governmental organizations and American citizens residing abroad or with close ties to foreign governments, agents, citizens, foundations, or influence networks engaged in the violations of the Foreign Agents Restrictions Act, or money laundering by funding, creating, and supporting entities, blah, 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 blah. So Benny Johnson and Lauren Chen and Tim Pool, who all got Russian dark money for their media, I guess this doesn't apply. I'm not reading all this. In the course of and a result of the investigations directed by Section 2 in the memorandum, the Attorney General may recommend that any group or entity whose members are engaged in activities meeting the definition of domestic terrorism merits designation as a domestic terrorist organization. The Attorney General shall submit a list of any such groups or entities to the President through the Assistant to the President and Homeland Security Advisor. So they're going to start doing lists. You're going to be on a list. If you're against Trump, you're going to be on a list eventually, just like Russia does. Russia has anyone who's spoken out against Russia or Putin is on a list. Same shit's going to happen here. Yep. Crazy. But expected.
Terrorism Task Force to
hissy fit about whatever.
Below. And with that, let's get to the conversation. All right, Ken, thank you so much for taking the time, sir. We're here to talk about NSPM 7, which is a mouthful, but your recent article starts out by calling this a new directive targeting anti-Christian, anti-American, and anti-capitalism opinions. What? Is that for real?
Yeah, and I think part of the reason it hasn't gotten picked up so much is because it just sounds so bizarre that people understandably think, oh, this must just be the media having another hissy fit about.
And that's what it is. And I'm trying not to be angry at like consumers of news because it's not your fault. It really is not. It is not. No, it's nobody's fault. The environment of the media is created of being hyperbolic when we shouldn't be, or like hyping shit or lying, right? A lot of the media lies, that's corporate funded, etc., or lie by omission, right? So a lot of people are untrustworthy of any information that's coming other than like their own little like social circle, and like some idiot who watches like right-wing media informs the rest of their dumbass group about what's happening, because a lot of people just don't, because they don't trust the media. But I mean, at some point that's not good enough. At some point you got to be like, you're an adult and you have to make adult decisions, and by just saying I don't trust media, all media bad, like, that's a personal choice. It's a take. You can have that opinion, but there is so much media out here now that do tell the truth, at least try to. There might not be big corporate media, might not be well-funded media or like big things, but there are tons of people doing content or on social media trying to provide the truth, or at least try to get you to the truth. So the lazy American take, which is the majority, that I don't trust the media, is not from nowhere. It's because of the media themselves and what they've done and why someone like I can exist, etc., etc. But it's creating a reality in which now the Republicans can lie in your face and can put up truth, or can put up some bullshit, because they know that a large portion of our country aren't going to listen because they don't trust it, or they don't trust anything. Even people that are like fact checking, they don't trust the fact checkers, they don't trust the news, they don't trust shit. So when you have that environment, you can do whatever you want. When you have an environment like that, people like Donald Trump cook. Like, oh man. The left attempting to meme now is just so fucking cringe. The left has been memeing. Gotta agree, gotta admit though, this one sucks. We'll have to agree that the cat one that they put out, that was ass. Let's not do this again. Yeah, you can't do this one anymore.
Republican and Democrat kiddies cannot agree on what should be funded. Democrat kiddies want you to have health care. Republican kiddies do not. Republican kiddies control the Senate, House, and the White House, so they're using that to cut your health care and give money to billionaires. Democrat kitty tries to negotiate, but Republican kitty keeps running away. He has a vacation to get to. Uh-oh. Suddenly the money you pay for your health insurance has tripled. Thanks, Republicans.
So, brain rot meme stuff sucks. Brain rot AI stuff meme, but at the same time, you know who this meme works with? The younger generation. They are this is their content. It's just the reality now, okay? So, this could work with whatever generation it is now. It's not Gen Z. What's the new one? Gen Z and younger. I mean, Gen Z, I don't even know if this would work with them, but the younger one, the newest one, this works with them because this is their content. You got to realize they're growing up in a world of AI and AI generated memes and content, and there's nobody filtering it for them. There's nobody telling them. So when you're a child and your brain's developing, you're growing up with this as your content. Because I got to think back to when I was a kid and it was YouTube and YouTubers that helped shape my reality. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good YouTubers. Some of them were okay, like Phil DeFranco. I watched Phil DeFranco when he first started. Now he's massive, for example. Like, there's some YouTubers that are good, but a lot of it was not, and led me to the right-wing pipeline as a child. Not saying that this content will, but like that's why it looks like this and is like this, because that's what the Gen whatever it is now, and their content that they consume on the internet. So I hate it. I'm telling them to stop, but maybe it could work with the younger generation, something. But that just sucks. Reminds me of like low effort NAFO shit sometimes. That became cringe after a while. Good message for Nolan for any conservatives that are lost, which I should have directed you to, like, people that have this false identifying patriotic whatever the fuck. The fight there is in Ukraine. If you're about like country fighting another country, being a bully, and people have to defend their homeland against an invading foreign force, and if they don't, then you're gonna lose it, and you got to go out east to fight for your family back home. That's just literally west. That's what Ukraine is doing. So anyone that's like a patriotic, like country and God and my family, then like a lot of those people were duped into supporting Trump and then MAGA. But that's the actual like fight of that reality. You know, like what's that Patrick Swayze movie or whatever? I don't know, was it him? And when the North Koreans invade us, or was it China? What's that movie called? We had a movie about it. Ukraine's living it for real though. They're living the real version. We had a good movie, and it inspired a lot of people, a lot of Americans to be like, fuck yeah, if we ever got invaded, that's what I would do. Oh yeah, Red Dawn. There you go. Good movie though. It's a good movie. I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's a good movie. But Ukraine is fighting Red Dawn. They're doing Red Dawn. And a lot of conservatives got fucking duped by Donald Trump and MAGA, and that's the actual like aura of patriotism and all that shit that you should be putting energy into. Like if you're looking for that, there it is. It's there for you if you want. You should go help or go support Ukraine because they're fighting that fight. Or you could be on our team in America and against Donald Trump and fascism, because that's the same fight too now. Ukraine's fighting a physical fight against Russia, trying to bring fascism to them and imperialism. Donald Trump, while not using weapons yet, they kind of are. He's not bombing blue cities and like in mass graves of people yet. But I'm worried of the direction we're going. Already militarizing our cities. Our militaries are going into cities. So it's not too far off to like, and then also the Russians are funding MAGA and control MAGA. Typing something in all caps still doesn't make it true. The Democrats want to give your healthcare money to illegal aliens and open our borders to the criminals. So nothing's changed. A MAGA chud was arrested at the PDX protest by DHS last night. Which one? Oh, there's still a nightly gathering out there at the ICE facility. Probably gonna be more people this weekend. Meanwhile, Call of Duty beta's out. Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. Just side note stuff. I'm not done with news, so don't go anywhere, but bro. Game sucks. Anyone not getting Call of Duty that usually gets it out there? I'm not getting it. I'm not playing it. That looks like dog shit. So in video games, people use hacks and cheats, and they got tools to where your weapon fires and like you don't have to do anything. It's cheating. There's a big issue in video games and competitive games that there's cheaters, and there's a big economy around it and all types of shit. It's bad. That's why playing competitive multiplayer games like this is very difficult because you're going against cheaters. And who wants to do that? Not me. I'm not playing it. You guys can check out Mercado Gaming for gaming content. We're gonna play DayZ with Chungus tonight. We got really quick side note though. We got Ghost of Yote came out. Completely forgot with everything going on. Completely forgot. But we're playing that tomorrow night, Friday night. We won't start it tonight. So tonight we're playing DayZ with Renegade Chungus, and then tomorrow we got Ghost of Yote. Pretty excited. For my gaming viewers, if you're not my gaming viewer, you should become one. Another take from my boy Lawrence. Got another good one yesterday. He's putting out consistent bangers now.
Well, Tom Nichols, a former professor at the U.S. Naval War College, wrote in The Atlantic that the question on the minds of the top military commanders after listening to Donald Trump.
You said you stopped playing video games 7 years ago? How come? Because of all the gaming, cheating, and trashy storylines and lack of new content? Man, gaming is better than ever right now. I mean, Call of Duty sucks and corporate games are ass, but there's so many good games. Should check it out. I play all types of good games on the channel.
Trump yesterday must
I don't think there's ever been a better time for video games than right now, for like story games and all types of different types of games that aren't like the same.
been. How can I know that an order I received to launch my missiles came from a sane president? They won't know. How many flashes of insanity from a president should we tolerate? That sounds like something that deserves a zero tolerance policy.
I like how he's disaster in chief day 2.
And we have never seen public flashes of insanity from any president other than Donald Trump, and we now see them every day. A president who has failed to get his funding plan passed by a Congress completely controlled by his party, then spends the day creating public versions of his hallucinations about the Democratic leaders of the House and the Senate. The president gives every indication that you could possibly ask for, that he has lost his mind, and every single elected Republican official in Washington excuses it. Most of them run away from it. They don't even want to talk about it. And the highest-ranking elected Republican in Washington says, it's funny. Those were his words. It's funny.
And then also they're trying to do this bullying toxic thing where you got them putting sombreros on themselves now. So, oh, it wasn't a joke at Jeffries to be racist. Look it, we wear it too. It's our government, you know. Republicans are one of the OnlyFans ones. Because Representative Luna ain't getting hired for anything other than what you exactly what you think. There ain't no policies or government, nothing. No, nothing for proposals, no diplomacy. Nothing other than aura, OnlyFans aura. So they're trying to do this now. Be like, oh, we're laughing with him, not at him.
The Vice President of the United States is empowered by the Constitution to convene the cabinet to take a vote under the 25th Amendment to temporarily relieve the president of his duties and install the vice president as the acting president when the president is obviously insane or when the president is incapacitated in some way, mental or physical, and obviously cannot do the job. Most Republicans in Washington are running away from the question of, is Donald Trump insane for posting crazy social media lies about Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in the middle of a government shutdown or in the middle of any workday for a president when Donald Trump is supposed to be trying to find a solution to that shutdown and other governing challenges. It sure looked like 25th Amendment Day in the White House today, where Donald Trump was not publicly visible. And the Vice President of the United States took to the microphone on day one of the government shutdown to basically assure the country, I guess, that he's in charge. And very specifically and deliberately to draw attention to Donald Trump's public insanity by actively seeking out an opportunity to talk publicly about Donald Trump's manifestations of outright insanity.
On the sombrero thing, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries said it was racist, and I know that he said that, and I honestly don't even know what that means. Like, is he a Mexican American that is offended by having a sombrero meme? I mean,
you have to be Mexican. You had to be a Mexican to be offended. That's it.
I saw one of the major TV stations put the meme up and then say, this is AI generated. And he had like the curly animated mustache too. It's like, do you really not realize the American people recognize that he did not actually come to the White House wearing a sombrero and a black curly animation mustache? Like, give the country a little bit of credit. We're all trying to do a very important job for the American people. The President of the United States likes to have a little bit of fun when he's doing it.
A little bit of fun.
Okay.
Of course he thinks it's okay. James David Vance wants to start publicly acting as president as soon as possible, as he did today when Donald Trump was totally invisible, perhaps slumped over in exhaustion too weak from yesterday's exertion of giving a speech to slather on his homemade orange makeup and to think of something to say to the American people about why he shut down the government. Donald Trump was incapable of doing that today. And so J.D. Vance jumped forward. Why did J.D. Vance and every Republican in Washington, why are they in favor of taking health insurance away from Americans and only from Americans? Donald Trump didn't even have the energy today to lie again about Democrats trying to provide health insurance for undocumented immigrants. That is a lie. And Donald Trump thinks that that lie is brilliantly underlined by him tacking mariachi music and sombreros onto videos of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and the vice president thinks it's funny, but he hasn't explained the joke. In all that explaining he was trying to do of whatever it is Donald Trump is doing with those videos, J.D. Vance could not explain the joke. Jokes never have to be explained. J.D. Vance had to explain that one and couldn't, because it's not a joke. There's nothing funny about it. The president has lost his mind. That is the clearest explanation for what Donald Trump is doing in his social media posting. He's lost his mind. James David Vance says Donald Trump likes to have a little bit of fun while he is working. That is not an explanation for anything, because we know Donald Trump is not working. And we know Donald Trump has no sense of humor. And we know what they all would have said, what they'd all be screaming, if Joe Biden had ever done anything like what Donald Trump has done this week and what Donald Trump does every week and every day.
They were every single day. Biden had a new gaffe or something, or when Biden fell off his bike. So it was something every single day, nitpicking Biden's, how he spoke, how he looked, everything, every day for 4 years. Why? How do we know this? Because I covered current events and politics and what was happening in the country, and it was every single day.
The vice president of the United States is what Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense now calls a beardo. Pete Hegseth thinks you're weird, you're a weirdo if you have a beard. And so he has coined the term beardo. Pete Hegseth thinks it is disqualifying in the American military to have a beard. Pete Hegseth said that in an administration with more beards than we have seen since President Grant's administration, including the vice president's beard, which is hardly the weirdest thing about him. So the Secretary of Defense told the generals and admirals yesterday, don't you dare get as fat as Donald Trump, and don't you ever, ever, ever look like the current vice president of the United States. At the same time, that Secretary of Defense wants to worship at the altars of Confederate generals, including the very bearded Robert E. Lee, who this Secretary of Defense now worships, even though Robert E. Lee committed treason against this country to fight to preserve slavery in this country. The current Secretary of Defense doesn't seem to know that the general who won the bloodiest war in history against Robert E. Lee, United States General Ulysses S. Grant, won that war with a beard and then served as president of the United States for 2 terms with a beard. The Secretary of Defense is, of course, an utter incompetent and a shockingly poor student of history, employable only by someone as incompetent and ignorant as Donald Trump. The first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, was also what Pete Hegseth, who had to promise to stop drinking to get his job, would call a beardo. Those generals and admirals yesterday were subjected to the worst stew of fetid ignorance ever stirred in front of them by a Secretary of Defense and a president, who spent the day yesterday and today delighting in a shutdown of the government that Donald Trump himself chose to do. They're supposed to be governing, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. They're supposed to be keeping the government open. That's the one task. the one task of the executive branch, and they are supposed to do it cooperatively, which is, it may be hard to believe tonight, the American way. Doing things cooperatively with people you don't always agree with and sometimes never agree with. And that's not just an American form of social wisdom. That is how civilization has advanced on this planet, by cooperation. Small scale and large scale and ultimately international and intercontinental cooperation. Something Donald Trump and all Republicans now swear to oppose. But we all still do it. We out here all still do it every day. No one has described how we do it better than Jon Stewart, and what has always been for me his finest moment of so many fine moments. It was 15 years ago when many of us thought then that our politics were coming apart, that people were losing.
Was it Jon Stewart when he was on CNN and Crossfire and he confronts Tucker Carlson? Is it that one?
The ability to talk to each other across the political divide. Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert went to Washington and of a Saturday afternoon held a rally called the Rally to Restore Sanity.
Oh, dang.
Jon Stewart created that day an image of our cooperation.
I wasn't tapped in at all. What year was this? What year was that? Nope, too young to understand what was going on.
That I found then and now unforgettable.
What the heck? What year was that?
He located that cooperation in the place that so many Americans think of as the roughest place in the country, the rudest place in the country, certainly. A place they certainly never want to have to try to navigate through traffic jams, a place where everything from the outside seems chaotic and impossibly crowded. It is a place that Donald Trump decided to attack today in his own hateful way, because the place where Donald Trump is from voted against him. And so he decided to try to stop funding for the new tunnel under the Hudson River joining New York and New Jersey, a crucial interstate connector that benefits the entire country, not just New York and New Jersey commuters. On that day 15 years ago when Barack Obama was president, and no one feared for the sanity of the President of the United States, but many of us had thought that our politics had come to the most tense standoff since the Vietnam War, Jon Stewart, in a truly beautiful flight of urban poetry, found the soul of American cooperation, the soul of the American way in a tunnel.
Most Americans
2010.
don't live their lives solely as Democrats, Republicans, liberals, or conservatives. Americans live their lives more as people that are just a little bit late for something they have to do. Often something they do not want to do, but they do it. Impossible things every day that are only made possible through the little reasonable compromises we all make. Look on the screen. This is where we are. This is who we are. These cars. That's a school teacher, probably thinks his taxes are too high. He's going to work. There's another car. A woman with 2 small kids can't really think about anything else right now. There's another car swinging. I don't even know if you can see it. These millions of cars must somehow find a way to squeeze one by one into a mile-long, 30-foot-wide tunnel carved underneath a mighty river. Carved by people, by the way, who I'm sure had their differences. And they do it, concession by concession.
You don't like John? Why not?
You go, then I'll go. You go, then I'll go.
What's wrong with Jon Stewart at all?
You go, then I'll go.
I know that even when I was right wing, when I was younger, conservatives like Jon Stewart. What's wrong with him?
Oh my God, is that an NRA sticker on your car? Is that an Obama sticker on your car? Oh, that's okay. You go, and then I'll go. And sure, at some point, there will be a selfish jerk who zips up the shoulder and cuts in at the last minute. But that individual is rare, and he is scorned and not hired as an analyst. Because we know instinctively as a people
You were there?
that if we are to get through the darkness and back into the light, we have to work together. And the truth is, there will always be darkness. And sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel isn't the promised land. Sometimes it's just New Jersey. But we do it anyway, together.
For 100 years, the Holland Tunnel connecting New York and New Jersey. You go, then I'll go. You go, then I'll go. You go, then I'll go. Pure poetry. And we all do it every day. Getting on subways, getting on escalators, elevators, airplanes, driving on the freeways. We all know how to do it. And Congress used to know how to do it, and Congress used to do it. But Donald Trump doesn't want to do it. And so the government of the United States of America has shut down.
Damn. Another good banger video from Lawrence. Probably just check that out every day. Just a Lawrence video a day now until the government's back. That's good. Good takes, good opinions by Lawrence. Oh my God. So Katie Davis Court became a victim after all, y'all. Remember, I don't know if you're watching the coverage a couple nights ago or 2 days through whatever, however long ago it was, but she was out there and trying to make herself a victim. Not sure how that happened. When the initial photo was that. How does that happen? So this was the initial photo she took out on the street. And then it turned into such a situation, it looks like. Remember, they're out there to try to get themselves, they're out there to antagonize and intimidate the protesters. How does that happen? Other than you look like at least 30 years older in this photo. I don't know how you do that. How do you make yourself look like you're 20? How do you make yourself look like you're 20 years old in your profile picture? Or whatever. And then in reality, you're like 50, 40. Yeah, I'm not, that looks like makeup. But even when she went on Jesse Waters. You're on Waters on Fox News, and look at the way it looks there. Bunch of makeup.
Katie Davis Court is the post-millennial journalist attacked by Antifa. Wow, that is quite a shiner. You all right?
Oh, yeah, I definitely have a black eye. So that's what it's been like covering Portland for the past 4 months. Complete lawlessness.
Wow.
Sounds like a drug user.
They say it's just one city block. Is that even true?
That's not true. So it went from being a war zone to one city block, but it's actually several blocks where that is completely controlled by Antifa affiliated protesters who harass, assault, and threaten anyone who they perceive to be a threat to their cause, including journalists, local residents, and ICE agents. And the Trump administration is absolutely correct in deploying federal troops here because Portland police has completely abandoned this zone. They refuse to go in, and
It's literally a street. It's literally one little intersection, one little T intersection in front of the ICE building and nothing else.
everyone that shows up is on their own.
So it's kind of like Chaz or Chop was in Seattle.
Not even close. Not even close to that. That was the only place I ever saw that was like that. George Floyd Square in Minneapolis had a street and an intersection. The Chop Chaz zone was an entire fucking section of Seattle. Like, bro, I don't know how they did that. That was crazy. I've never seen some shit like that before. Straight up, like, pure, just, like, holding it down. I couldn't believe it. It was crazy. But no, that was an entire, like, they had an entire section of the city, multiple blocks. A police station was in it, boarded up, but it was like the whole Capitol Hill, or not the Capitol, whatever. What's the place called? The Hill in Seattle, whatever it is. Yeah, nothing compares to that. Still to this day, I've never seen a zone like that. Nothing. So to compare that to Chop Chaz, this little fucking street intersection, is crazy work.
So it's kind of like
Capitol Hill. There you go.
Or CHOP was in Seattle. They just, I guess, secede this territory, cede it to Antifa, and they just let everything play out?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So last night I got assaulted and I immediately ran to a Portland police officer, hunted down the suspect, chased her through the streets and said, "This is my assault suspect. Can you guys finally do something?" And I had eyes on her for about 35 minutes. Portland police refused to come in and make an arrest. And I had 3 officers just standing there watching me try to hunt down this suspect. And imagine my anger when I go on.
Imagine my anger.
After doing all of that about an hour ago, and I see Portland police put out a bolo asking for the public's help in identifying my assault suspect. So that is what it's like on the ground here in Portland. And it's time for a federal crackdown. The Trump administration.
Oh no, not the rainbow umbrella.
Needs to start treating Antifa like ISIS, the terrorists that they are, and put an end to them here for good.
All right, so Portland.
Put an end to them here for good. Okay, this person's not a journalist. This person goes out there to antagonize and intimidate the protesters, but also report for the feds. They ain't reporting for America. They ain't reporting for the world to tune in or whatever. It's for the feds to sit up in the building and put on Katie Davis court, and then she can be their eyes and ears for them. And that's what it is. That's the difference. This person's an embarrassment. What a joke. Goes out there and stands out there and draws all the attention to themselves as possible, and then they cry victim when they get the attention that they're looking for. People are out there to protest ICE, and MAGA's like, let's go make us the story. And that's what they do. That's MAGA Media 101 with this bullshit. More cleavage, though. I don't think you put enough in the picture. That's really what you posted that one for. With your fake bullshit. Look at that, dude. Fake. Fake nonsense. Antifa attacks journalist. The future is bright. Another edit from Homeland Security, guys. Another Homeland Security Department edit for everyone. There's somebody that did a video about this, that this is white nationalism editing. To try to bring us, I don't, like, what is, like, this is, bring us back to what? What is you suggesting here? That we get in the time machine and relive all these events? We go in a time machine and then we start back in 1950 and then just run it back? Is that what we're suggesting with these edits, or what are you doing? Bring us back to a time when things were simpler. That's conservatives. They just sit in their dream. They're dreamers, guys. They're dreamers. Man, I want to go back to when life was easy and I was younger. You ain't doing that. You're gonna continue to get old and then you're gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, we're gonna continue to age and age and age, and then guess what? We're gonna die someday. That's what's gonna happen. You ain't going back in time to relive these fucking whatever. All these glorious moments of the US, which have Trump in them too. Trump eating the fucking pizza backwards. Man, why did they put that in there, dude? Why did they put that one in there? Should tell you everything you need to know about Donald Trump. Brother. Like the you get the stuffed crust at the end. It's like a reward at the end. Like it gives you a reason to eat the crust at the end, because most people don't eat the crust. They eat the pizza and then not the crust. But if you get stuffed crust, then you have something to look forward to. Jesus. They're ready to survive the night? Team up and find out in this thrilling co-op horror game. Looks like Fortnite. Okay, no thank you. Remember when it was called TDS if you claimed that Trump would deploy troops in cities, implement Project 2025, pardon January 6 insurrectionists, politicize the Department of Justice for revenge, ruin trade policy with tariffs, start new wars, not achieve peace in Ukraine, be worse for Gaza, give preferential access to the wealthy, appoint underqualified loyalists, break his promises on tech and finance? Remember when you were called TDS for that? Or divisive? Because in the pro-Ukraine community, if you were calling all this out, you were called divisive. Okay? Because that's what I was doing for the past few years, was influencing and trying to help Ukraine. And anytime I'd be like, yo, Donald Trump's like running for president and the Republicans are siding with him and it looks like he's going to be the nominee and everything they're saying is not going to happen. They're lying. Everybody was called divisive. Hey guys, Donald Trump is going to do nothing for Ukraine. Wow. Oh. Wow. Why'd you say that? Are you trying to push people away from supporting Ukraine? Wow. How could you say that? Shut up and fundraise. Shut up and send more money. Go. What are you doing? For years. I don't want to hear it anymore, obviously. I don't give a fuck anymore. All this is happening. And yet here we are. The idea that media has a left-wing bias is nonsense. They spent this last election cycle vilifying Harris's claims about Trump, and yet here they've all come true. All of them. Only all of them. Just with more to come. It's like one of those things you wish you weren't right about, because it sucks. I wish I was wrong and looked like an idiot. I really wish I was. Then he could be like, Mercado, you were so wrong about Trump. He's so good for the country. Wow, Mercado, you should quit journalism. Only my numbers continue to rise because I was right. And it's not hard to be right. Anyone can do it. Because you just follow what's being said and the actions, and they're not matching. Fortnite Friday is back. What's wrong with Connor? I don't know. What's just Connor a bad creator? Why is Taylor Renz mad at Connor? He will show up to a door opening? Is Taylor Lorenz just anything that the Democrats do? Just like you just be a Republican. They'd be like there's times to criticize Newsom, plenty, but it's like there's like an entity of leftists that their only existence is to be a thorn for the Democrats, and that's it. Would you like to take power? No, we just want to criticize it all day, and that's it. Would you like to? How about? Would you like power, and would you like to have a government? Nope. Just want to criticize. What am I missing? So now CBP operates shirtless? Communist denied. Look at more Homeland Security. And they say the left can't meme? You can't wear beards, apparently. You can't wear beards now. Thank you for the 5 gifted from Ree. Thank you so much, Ree. Governor Tim Walz of my state goes 18,000 Minnesota federal employees have been furloughed thanks to Trump's shutdown. Republicans are prioritizing tax breaks for the rich while defunding Minnesotans' health care and leaving them without pay. Is this the MAGA dude? Is this the guy that you said was MAGA that pushed him?
Oh, get him, yeah!
MAGA is saying that it was an Antifa. You said yes. How do you know he's MAGA? What did you? How do you know he's MAGA?
That's a fuck around and find out right there. Beautiful, beautiful, it's beautiful.
It was him, Honey Badger Mom stream. They admitted it. Oh damn. Do you have a clip? These are clips we need. We need clips. If you have if you see something that happens and clip it and post it into the Discord. MAGA spun this one. Let me try to find it. It was on a comp stream. Okay. All right, yeah, if you see some shit like that and you're like, oh, this is sauce, then clip it immediately. Don't even think about it. Just clip it and post it in Discord, and then we can go over it. You're not even on X anywhere where MAGA hung out. That's fine. You don't have to be on, I'm not saying you have to be on X to clip. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're able to, that you know the context that this guy was a MAGA that got arrested, that's what we need. Because I can't just go off of claims. I got to show proof. That'd be very interesting, though. I'm not saying you're lying. I would need to see that, the context around that. So if you do that, if you guys when I'm not live and you're watching some shit, or you're seeing a protest, number one, you can tell me, and we could switch over the content and come over to Mercado Media for my gaming channel. If it's something, whatever. But if you see it though, if you see some shit in another feed, then screen record. Go back, rewind, and screen record it. Because a lot of these maggots, like Katie and others, are going there to clip chimp the protesters while they're doing their own little shit in the background. Got a pro-Ukraine rally happening today in Idlib in Syria, opposing Syrian normalization with Russia. Wow.
عمان هاد من معرف النعمان هذا قبل كم سنة المجرم والأزعر بوتين قتل له مرته وأطفاله هود أطفاله المجرم والقاتل بوتين اللي ارتكب عشرات بل مئات بل آلاف المجازر بحق أبناء الشعب السوري واليوم عم يرتكبها.
If you guys don't know, Syria had their own revolution last year that we covered and watched play out, which is, that was wild to watch a revolution from start. Well, the revolution was taking place years before, and the resistance movements against Assad. But I'm talking the full push to overthrow Assad. We watched on stream last year. So Assad's gone. Syria's working out their own manifest destiny for their independence and whatnot. Preston Stewart keeps up with it. I mean, it's just a lot to keep up with. Syria's very complicated, but I hope the best for them. They still got some terrorist entities within their country of terror groups, but beyond that, better to have anything other than Assad at this point. In what Assad was doing to the Syrian people. And they're seeing their same fight with Ukraine, which is good because Ukraine's fighting a similar fight. Ukraine's trying to they've been an independent country since 1991. 94 was the Budapest Memorandum. Ukraine has been independent since 1991, but they've been fighting off Russian control and Russian imperialism ever since. And they're obviously doing that right now with the full-scale invasion because Russia still wants to control Ukraine. So if you're anti-imperialist, then supporting Ukraine could be something you do. Only people that twist themselves into a pretzel about U.S., NATO, and all that bad, then that's your problem. And then you're not a true anti-imperialist. If you don't support you, if you're consider yourself an anti-imperialist, anti-war person, and you don't support Ukraine, you need to fix that. You need to look in deep in and ask yourself why. Was it media you watched? Was it someone that convinced you that supporting Ukraine was like a NATO proxy war? And that was by design, because that's what Russia says. Russia says it's NATO proxy war, so therefore we're justified, or like Nazis or something. Meanwhile, the real Nazis are the ones crossing the border into Ukraine. So again, if you are a anti-war person or a anti-imperialist, and Ukraine is not in your docket of countries to care about, then you need to fix that. Like if you're pro-Palestine, you should be pro-Ukraine, and vice versa. If you have morals, but if you don't, then it is what it is. If you're like, or if you're selective, a lot of people are selective, or they only can do one issue at a time. All right, what do we got? Anything new on the shutdown? Let's see. Let me see here. I don't think much new. Visitors to U.S. national parks left guessing as shutdown begins. Okay. Oh, you had some one clip I want to show you guys. So latest in the shutdown. 1 day, 18 hours, 26 minutes. Here are the national parks and monuments that are still open. Okay, so there's still Grand Canyon, Statue of Liberty, National Mall in D.C., Utah National Parks, Colorado National Parks, South Dakota National and State Parks. Nothing really new for news in like 20 hours, it looks like. That's the latest updates. Oh. Continuing coverage. Okay. What about AP? Trump uses government shutdown to threaten firings and punishment. Okay, so we don't have shit until tomorrow anyways. So today was just kind of like a boring news day. There was a shooting earlier. I'm not into like just covering every single shooting ever, but you had a shooting in Illinois, I think, today. I'm just gonna type in shooting and I bet we get the news. Or is there was another shooting today, right? Hard to keep track with all of them at this point. Or maybe not. I got alerted that there was like a shooting taking place this morning. Shooting was in Illinois. .900 block of Grant Avenue shortly before 6 p.m. From yesterday. Suspect dead after shooting wife, killing her parents. Jesus. Oh, he's dead. Killed his wife and her parents. Pike County Sheriff Deputy Zach Orr said around 6 a.m. deputies responded to a 911 call of a shooting. 300 block of Mississippi Street in New Canton, which is about 100 miles north of St. Louis. Okay. That's about it for that. Suspect was identified as 67-year-old Gerald E. Walagorski. They don't have a motive yet. Probably personal. Got to be personal stuff. Killing his wife and her parents. Got to probably be a family dispute. Just guessing. Did the left do it? Was it a Republican? It was the left. Anything else on that? So no new updates on the government shutting down. How does the government shutdown impact National Guard? They won't be paid on time, just like the others. I was serving during the Obama shutdown. And now I'm glad I was in the reserves during the Trump shutdown the first time, and now the Trump shutdown this time. I'm glad I'm not serving. In years past, Congress has passed stopgap measure preventing this pause in military pay. Days before government funding lapsed in 2013, lawmakers approved the Pay Our Military Act, which kept military paychecks going during the shutdown. Before this shutdown happened, a similar bill was introduced, but it wasn't voted on. Dang. Who sponsored the Pay Our Military Act? Introduced on, wow. Just introduced before the shutdown happened. Representative Kiggins Jennifer from Virginia. Well, didn't get it voted in time, or didn't even care to put it on the docket. Republicans can say, "Oh, think of the military and think of our essential workers," but don't care actually. Hegseth's decision on Wounded Knee medals spark outrage in Native American communities as expected. I played that for you guys a few days ago. Okay. Yeah, got a lot of federal workers in New Mexico, huh? Border stuff, huh? Yeah, border agents and southern border stuff. Okay. So nothing really tangible for, is the government going to reopen or what's going to happen with it? You said play J.B. Pritzker. Katie's fake black eye. Where did he make his statement? Where am I missing it? You think the government will be shut down more than a week? I mean, the first time he was president, it was 30 some days.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Midday News.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Patrick Elwood.
And I'm Dina Bair. Thank you for joining us.
Was there a bigger press conference or other than a news report? Okay, we'll listen to JB Pritzker's part. We don't need to watch the whole hour, and then we'll watch his Q&A at the end.
Innocent.
This was a couple days ago now, though. You got Operation. It's called Operation.
Well, Tom Nichols.
Oh boy. Was this it? Oh, this was a month ago. We watched that live. What's their shit called? Midway Blitz. Operation Midway Blitz surpasses 900 arrests in Illinois. And they're also making edits on this too. Law enforcement has made over 900 arrests during Operation Midway Blitz in Illinois. I'm not opposed to the government going after criminals that need to be put away. It's the manner in which they're doing it. It's the loud, making edits with epic music in the background, like doing inhumane shit just because like the criminal might be inhumane. The government and the agents handling them should look better, but they don't because they're also in masks and they look like a gang arresting a gang or whatever. So it doesn't look good. There's nothing that you can invoke positive out of this unless you're like someone that watches this type of content all day, like MAGA does. And they like watching people get beat and pushed around and gassed and hurt. They love that content. And I've learned that for the past 5 years. That's why I got to be careful going forward whenever there are riots or I'm covering war stuff to make it abundantly clear I don't stand with anyone that loves this content. You know what I mean? Because that's a fact. There's people that will literally tune in just for the chaos. And it will happen. It doesn't mean I'm going to not cover it. It doesn't mean I'm going to not cover chaos or not cover war or whatever. That's going to still be a thing. But I don't think I made it clear that I'm not with like enjoying watching it. There's no enjoyment that comes from it. So when they're making edits and trying to act like Chad, whatever, base, whatever the fuck they're doing, the Pokemon edit or whatever other edit they make, it's the matter in which they're trying to procure propaganda around it. Like if you went into Midway, you had to go into Chicago and you work with JB Pritzker and you have some serious criminals that you got to do. You work with the governor, you work with the state authorities, you work with the state police or whatever, and then you go and do it, but you don't make it fucking loud. And you don't like have helicopter, like they're being so loud and obnoxious with it. And that is the problem. That is the problem. If there's criminals out here that need to be deported, or if they're a threat to a community, then get them out and leave it at that. Don't aura farm this. And then also with your language about immigrants in general, this is giving like, this is like a warning, like, or the way that you're talking about political opponents. I'm viewing this as like a future video for people that are against Trump. I'm not watching this video thinking, oh, they're getting criminals out. They're putting these edits out to get people that love this content ready to watch American citizens get arrested and taken away like this for opposing Trump. And it's going to take some time. He's got 3 more years. But when you watch 3 years of content like this, and then you're also being told the left is responsible for crime and they're increasing their numbers, this is going to become American citizens. You're seeing maybe criminals, who knows? I don't know. They have their day in court. They can do what they got to do in the legal system. But this is to prepare Americans and MAGA that watch this content and love it, to prepare them to watch Americans get arrested and taken away. Same thing with that bus video from when they got sent to El Salvador and everything. You said I can't get enough of this stuff. You're so right. Yeah, you're a loser. I bet you have no friends. I bet you've never had a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I bet you've never felt the touch of another human being outside of your mother, maybe, or your uncle. But yeah, I mean, you love it because you don't know what being around other humans is like. Protesters block Brooklyn Bridge after Yom Kippur rabbis for ceasefire protest in Brooklyn. You got rabbis for ceasefire out there on the Brooklyn Bridge. They call it out right after he gets taken down. Do you have this shared somewhere? I have a Discord server. Link is in the description. Where? I'm not seeing it. Please share protest stuff into our protest channel, because there's a lot of channels and they all have their own purpose. Yeah, well, when you can, share it to the protest channel, because I need the video. Theo Von says a high-level government official asked him if he needed security after using his likeness to promote deportations. What the hell?
My father immigrated here from Nicaragua, right? Like one of my prized possessions is I have his immigration papers when he came here. And I have them in a frame, and him and his siblings when they came here. And so I have tons of thoughts about it, but this was just fucked up, right? It was fucked up. And it was everywhere. It was like on all platforms and stuff. So that had me really kind of paranoid. You know, that had me start to get kind of paranoid and, you know, like closing, like, you know, I had the curtains in my house kind of closed. I was just like, you know, you're paranoid. I woke up the next morning. Sorry, I need some water.
Maybe you shouldn't let the MAGA government and MAGA people use you like you did, Theo Von, and all your other podcaster funny guys that think they're funny. And yes, Theo Von can be funny, but he was absolutely used by MAGA and many other podcaster content creators like him. Let me drink some water to make this better. YouGov poll, 40% say GOP is a bigger threat to free speech. 28% say Democrats. ICE repel from a Black Hawk helicopters to detain U.S. citizens. Grab everyone in the apartment complex. This is the Operation Midway Blitz.
And she says they took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no. I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen-At video shows the chaotic scene overnight. Neighbors tell us there were dozens of ICE agents. Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner. Because they was bringing the kids out too. Had them zip tied to each other. That's all I kept asking. Where's the morality? Where's the human? One of them literally.
Go fuck yourself. Kevin, literally find a hole. Yeah, find a hole and put yourself in it.
He laughed. He was standing right here. He said, them kids.
Watson says budget trucks and military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
Oh, so there were American citizens in the apartment complex that were terrorized by this. Hey, 2A conservatives, it's the tyranny y'all been talking about. No, they don't actually believe in it. They don't believe in it, actually. No, it's to aura farm. Just like their Christian white nationalism, only a small amount of them actually are like believe in God or Christian. They don't give a fuck about that or the Bible. They just like the idea of like a Christian reality for everyone, but they don't believe in it. But they think it's like the best for like our society, but they don't believe in any of that shit. I don't want to be spoiled. We're playing Ghost of Yote tomorrow. Megan Kelly says Bad Bunny's Super Bowl show is a middle finger to MAGA. Good. I hope it is. MAGA is a middle finger to everything that actually makes America great. Deal with it. Based. If you're not giving a middle finger to MAGA, then it's a problem. Then it's an issue. Despite their attempts to jam, disable comms, and hide the illegal capture of humanitarians heading into Gaza, multiple boat cameras captured IDF forces. So the IDF was on the boats. You just point their rifle at the heads of everybody, or what? Take the camera down. IDF or nothing respectable about the IDF. It's like the Russian military, but better funded. There's no difference between the IDF and like the Russians, other than the Russians are like yeehaw fucking backwater ass military, and the IDF are very well funded. That's really the difference. Our social media manager was furloughed, but almost Friday. The IDF is effective, yeah, at effectively being a terrorists. Effectively killing civilians in mass. Effectively turning the world against them. For their own actions. One of those boats was all American vets, says Dave. Why do Republicans crop out this part? Because it would show their lies. That's why. Okay. Everyone's showing Ghost of Yote. I don't want to see it yet. We're playing it tomorrow. We'll be playing Ghost of Yote tomorrow. The Flotilla has a YouTube channel now. They're being broadcast on AP. It's back on AP again. There's a few left. They're 77 miles away from Gaza. A lot of the ships have been intercepted already. So that's still going. You tagged you in a Discord video, U.S. News Politics. When? Oh, here's the one we're talking about. Thank you. Call me C.
Okay. Very good. Nice to see everyone this afternoon, and I should have called class outside today. In March of 2020, at the onset of what has been the largest health crisis in our lifetimes, I stood before Illinoisans for 60 straight days, and then many more. And through more than 100 briefings over the course of 9 months, I shared what we knew at the time about COVID-19. No matter how grim the outlook or the update, and even when we didn't have all the answers, we told the truth. And
why support Hamas? Who's supporting Hamas? What the fuck are you talking about? The IDF and the Bibi Netanyahu and the Likud government and the Zionism is the actual terrorists. What are you talking about?
I knew we had a responsibility to tell people in Illinois and across the country, if they were tuning in, what we knew, when we knew it. In the midst of tremendous uncertainty, there were people who chose to provide disinformation and unscientific prevarications. Today, in 2025, we live in a time when the truth seems harder and harder to come by. Social media is flooded with grifters trying to sell miracle cures and supplements, fearmongers attacking the efficacy of proven vaccines for all kinds of diseases, and bad faith actors peddling junk science that exploits fear and sows doubt in the minds of the public. When your life or your health are on the line, you need facts and you need evidence to make good decisions for yourselves and for your families. And that's why it's more important than ever before for our leaders and our doctors to speak plainly and truthfully and directly about public health. We're here today to discuss 3 things about your health. First, vaccines are safe and effective.
and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, this was you talk about the National Guard or?
Autism is not caused by vaccines, and autistic people and their families deserve our support.
Okay.
And when you want more information, ask your doctor.
Same shit I tell you. Okay. You said, oh, here you go. This one. Oh, you tagged the wrong one.
I told Pete
My
we
bad.
should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. They threw him out of his family business. He was so stupid. He's always up there saying, we're in very good shape. We don't need the military. No, they need the military desperately.
Joining me now here in Chicago is Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, the aforementioned. It's good to have you here.
Good to be here. Glad to have you in town.
Well, you've been going back and you haven't been going back and forth. The president has been threatening and then seeming to retreat from, and then once again it seemed today threatening. He basically said we're going to go in soon. Was that news to you to hear that today?
No, because yesterday we received notice that the Department of Homeland Security had sent a notice to the Department of War that they would like to have 100 troops sent to the Chicago. They didn't say exactly what they'd be doing other than protecting ICE facilities and maybe ICE personnel. They didn't say where they would get the 100 personnel from, the 100 troops. But we know that the president has had this on his mind for quite some time. Apparently, we're living rent-free in his head.
I'm going to ask you a similar question I would ask the mayor, and it's based on the conversation that he had with the governor of Oregon, Governor Kotek, about this, where apparently they had a conversation where she said, hey, that was 5-year-old B-roll. The thing they're showing you on Fox News is not, like, just so you know, it's not actually happening. Is there an opportunity to have a phone conversation with a person who doesn't seem to me to actually know what's actually happening?
No, he doesn't actually read anything, as you know. He doesn't seem to listen to anybody. And if you just looked at what's happened to our crime rates across the city of Chicago, frankly, they've been cut in half. I mean, in every violent crime that you can think of, in every category, we've done better and better and better. And indeed, look, always crime is an issue in any city across America. But things are so much better here, especially every year for the last 4 years, we've made serious progress. And now he says he wants to send troops in because crime is out of control. It's ridiculous. He calls Chicago a hellhole. The guy hasn't been to Chicago. He really has no idea what's going on here. And is there the ability to communicate? Well, gee whiz, we're all over TV showing him what Chicago looks like and telling him what Chicago is and what's happening here. And he's just got it in his head, just like with Portland, some picture in his head. Remember 2016?
And this guy's the president that can go anywhere he wants at a moment's notice. Just put the wheels up and go. And he could go and see any of this and go and walk the streets to see what it's like, but he doesn't.
Where essentially the people of Chicago showed up to tell him, get out of town. We don't even want you here, right? And I think that is stuck in his head, and he hates Chicago for that reason.
I want to ask you about what's been going on at the Broadview ICE facility, which is here in your state. It's been the staging ground for the stepped-up ICE enforcement. And there have been protests there. There have also been responses to the protests. I'm going to show you just a little bit from the local CBS package about an ICE agent essentially appears to be, I think, firing non-lethal rounds in the direction of this reporter. Take a listen.
An ICE agent that was masked pointed his weapon and shot directly at my car. He saw my window was open, and he shot right here. You can see the point of impact right there.
You can see white powder exploded on the hood of her car, windshield, and even engulfed the inside.
And I was sitting right there with my window open. A lot of it went inside of my car and on my face. I immediately felt it burning. I started throwing up.
You expressed some real concern about what is happening and the posture the federal government has taken at that facility. Why are you so worried about this?
Well, let's start with they are firing rounds and gas in some cases, rubber bullets in other cases, at reporters. Let's start with that. Then let's go to just look at when you've got peaceful protesters. They're chanting. They're saying things that I'm sure ICE finds mean, but they're expressing themselves, their First Amendment rights. And what are they doing inside the ICE facility, up on, stanchions and above the fence line? They're firing down at them with these gas pellets and with these rubber bullets at peaceful protesters. There's even video of protesters showing up in the morning with their coffee cups, chanting, right? But they went and got coffee before. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not throwing things, not even a sandwich, at an ICE officer.
You said Chicago is a hellhole? Where? What is Chicago the second largest city after New York now? When you have a massive city that is like a giga city, massive city, there will be crime at higher rates than in places where there's nobody in it. So in general, massive cities will have crime. It's whether or not you want to fight the crime with tangible resources and try to get to the root cause of the issue, or if you want to send in a militarized police state, the military, the National Guard, and overreact to the news and overreact to the situation. Every time I've gone to Chicago, I've loved it. I get a scooter, ride around the whole city, daytime and nighttime. Don't go to certain areas at nighttime that are prone to crime in like away from the downtown area. But every time I've gone to Chicago, it's been no issues. Walk down the street, they have the Starbucks there, cool looking Starbucks. You got a bunch of landmarks there. You can just walk. You just walk around. And like there's unhoused people around, but that's with any other city. That's in any major city that we have in America. It's a capitalism issue. Okay, but which also needs to be fixed, but that's a whole other conversation. But to just say like Chicago is a hellhole, I mean, what, like, where is the hellhole? Because every time I've gone there, it's been nothing but welcoming people. Again, lots of shit to do in Chicago. Actually, I just don't see it. I don't understand it.
Instead, they get fired upon while they're standing there. This is not only causing...
Sounds like the same people that call Minneapolis a hellhole. Which part? The Starbucks drinking, scarf wearing scooter person that's driving around? Like, what are we talking about?
Him on the ground, which is exactly what Donald Trump wants. It's his pretext for sending troops in. But it's also disrupting an entire village.
Am I right that the local police are now considering charges against some of these agents, or have talked about this, right? I mean, there's also like a law enforcement challenge has now been brought on.
Does anybody even go anywhere else in Illinois other than Chicago? What is there to do in Illinois as a state other than go to Chicago?
Law enforcement officials in this area who now have to manage this.
And it's very unclear whether they actually can bring those charges, but they have talked to Illinois State Police and to the Attorney General's office. The reality is that there are private attorneys out there that are working, there are organizations, ACLU and others, who are working to bring lawsuits against ICE on behalf of individuals who have been fired upon. That is actually a very helpful thing for ICE to see, because while there are challenges with state and local law enforcement, going after criminal activity, things that I would consider criminal activity by feds.
Popcorn fields?
Private lawyers are able to do much, much more.
You guys have like is there a popcorn museum or something? Or like somewhere I can get some good ass popcorn?
Final question for you here is, what is the takeaway here about how you and the officials here and the mayor and everyone have sort of responded?
Other cornfields.
What do you hope to see happen as the outcome here? And what are the takeaways for people right now? As he seems to be kind of, happening in Los Angeles, he's threatening other cities. You've been in the crosshairs as well.
Well, he's clearly going after multiple cities now at the same time, right? Portland and Chicago together. He went after Los Angeles. He's gone after Washington, D.C. This is all in an effort to militarize our cities. We stood together, our business community, our clergy, our nonprofit organizations, elected officials together, and some Republicans standing together in front of the camera to say, look at our beautiful city. We have challenges like other cities, but we're not even in the top 25 in terms of crime. So this really isn't about crime. And remember that we don't want you here. Go somewhere where they might invite you. But here in Chicago,
and Chicago is a big city. It's a giant. You can see it miles and miles and miles, just like New York City. It looks like a painting when you're like far away from it and you see the skyline. You're like, oh fuck, that's big. If you've never been to Chicago or New York City or any major city, like it's you see it from a distance, you're like, god dang, that's a city. You can kind of see the skyline of the Twin Cities a little bit, but our shit's so mid. It's like our shit is literally just like a section of Chicago it'd be like one part of the skyline. It's like all of the Minneapolis and St. Paul for how big Chicago is. And New York is way bigger, but yeah, like Bobby Agafella says, with any major city, and again, it's not just like a city. I don't know, we have like people that live in the rural parts and you think your main street is a city. It's not. Or like you live in a state that's more rural and you go into the town, that's not a city. Okay, if you've never seen it before, then maybe go and just look at it. Maybe go drive and like just go drive through it or something, or go drive next to it. You can like be like, fuck, this thing's massive. So with any major city, there's going to be some crime. Unfortunately, it's just how it is in the United States or any developed country. Any major developed country has crime in it. And it's up to the politicians to put forth policies that help address the issues. And it depends on the type of politician. Some like a heavy hand, like Trump and MAGA, which are overextending, and some can be too soft. There's got to be in between there to help address the crime problems. But we can't have those conversations, though. You can't have the good faith crime-related conversations because of how Trump is trying to send the National Guard to fight the crime. And it takes away any good faith conversation. But when the conversations are predicated upon lowering crime rates, which have been the case in D.C. and Chicago, then maybe you should continue the policies that have been going, or maybe fund the policies that are working. Oh, there's a lower crime rates going down because you're never just going to immediately eliminate crime unless you do full on the troops are patrolling the streets. But even then, there's going to be crime still. There'll be like underground crime, which happens, but like even more so. Or you'll have people that'll attack the troops or something that in their rage against troops that they're going to kill civilians too. Right? And we'll have like terrorism out here because the military is out patrolling and people won't be down with that. And there will be deeper issues that can arise from it. So you don't heavy hand and do that shit and create a police state. You can't do that. And it's also against our Constitution and against the spirit of our country. But MAGA doesn't care anymore. So there's got to be good faith policies. But when you see Chicago and you see DC and their crime rate is going down, not going to be perfectly zero. There's still going to be crime and violent crime. That will still happen, unfortunately. But if there was an issue where it was like, oh my God, it's out of hand. It's like, or if there was like some, I don't even know, like a Warriors situation, like the movie. And you just got like gangs out controlling the city in broad daylight and shit. And like, it's even then, like you'd still work with the governor to, hey, do you want the help of the federal government? We can come in and help. Usually the governors will activate the guard themselves and try to handle it themselves in their own state because that's what they were elected to do. Instead, Donald Trump is going over all of these governors and is making decisions by himself. And that's a problem. I don't care. There's nothing that meets the moment of Donald Trump. There's nothing that justifies Donald Trump sending the military and militarizing the federal agents the way he's doing. Not a single thing.
Here in the state of Illinois, we don't want you.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Crazy. Let's get this straight. The real reason he hates Chicago is because it's Obama's city. That's the one. Actually, that's the take. That's it. I spent way too long trying to provide actual analysis. I should have just told you guys that one. That's it. Oh, Chicago is Obama. Therefore, Chicago bad. My bad. I could have just said that faster. That would have been way faster than everything I just said. But the crime rates are going down. They won't hit a perfect zero. Good faith policies about addressing crime are always welcomed, and they should be, but we can't have that. Can't have it with this government. Same thing with Biden's economy. Why don't they just continue Biden's economy and then claim it like they do? No, we had to implement tariffs and completely fucking destroy it. McCarthy was right. We need to restore the Communist Control Act of 1953. I can think of nothing that more clearly disqualifies a candidate than to say that there is no guarantee of free speech. They're hypocrites. They don't believe in anything they actually say. They being maggots, MAGA, Donald Trump supporters. Genuinely, the last time politics felt professional. I voted for the guy on the right. I didn't vote for Obama. I was too young to vote the first time, and then when I could, I voted for Mitt Romney. Those Republicans are called rhinos now. They're basically just Democrats to MAGA. Mitt Romney's a Democrat to MAGA or liberal, which is crazy. Just when we thought cameos couldn't go any harder. That looks like shit. There's Call of Duty for you. There you go. You can get alien tentacle ooze on your weapon. There you go. Tentacle essence all over your shit. Thank you, NAMAC for hosting Van Jones and me in San Diego this week to address your annual meeting. Civil discourse. Words, not weapons. Debate. This is the way. You smeared a Muslim member of Congress who regularly gets death threats, an agent for Hamas, live on CNN. But sure, Scott. Scott Jennings sucks so bad. All right. All right, well, I'm done doom scrolling random political takes for the day. I think we're good. Government's still shut down. And shit ain't fixed yet. That's where we're at with it. There's our Secretary of War.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. It's completely unacceptable to see
Look at our government.
generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
And that's where we're at with it. I think Brent give us a new one yet? Chicago this Saturday. He's going to be in Chicago. I already played the Bad Bunny video. All right. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. We'll be live earlier tomorrow. I just had a bunch of stuff come in, and also I slept in a little bit more today. But I'm not doing 5 streams like I did yesterday today. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to play DayZ on my gaming channel. Thank you, Gene, for the super sticker. We're going to play DayZ with Chungus on my gaming channel tonight. So come on over to Mercado Gaming. We played the Mortuary Assistant last night, and it was super fun. So we're going to play some DayZ. I don't play that one often. I think I haven't played it in a while. But Chungus wanted to play, so we're going to check that out. And then tomorrow night after the news, we got Ghost of Yote on PlayStation. Yeah, a bunch of people playing it right now. I don't want nothing. But anyways, that came out. It's going to be a good game. Love the first one, Ghost of Tsushima. It's a samurai game in old Japan. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. I appreciate everybody for all the support for the gear. Rewatch the beginning of the stream. I went through it all of the new stuff I have for now and what we've ordered for armor and protection. So I appreciate everybody for contributing to that. If you guys haven't, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, notification bell turned on. Make sure you guys are in our communities if you haven't done so. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good night. Take care. Peace.